a fit case for extradition. They would essentially do that by providing evidence of the fact that this is also a crime committed before the United Kingdom. If you see it through the prism of the laws in the United Kingdom, then of course the money laundering charges basically stands, and that would be the first priority of the central agencies. In the past, remember, they've been very successful in convincing the UK courts as far as a case that was registered against economic fugitive Nirav Modi and also Vijay Mallya. In both cases, they've been very successful, starting from the Westminster Court all the way up to the Supreme Court. They've been able to convince the courts. So it is going to be important that the Enforcement Directorate through the Crown Prosecution Service in London tries and convince the court the fact that Sanjay Bhandari has committed a crime for which he needs to face the law here in India. And they will also be providing details of the charge sheet that has been filed against Sanjay Bhandari, where they've collected evidence of the fact that there have been multiple companies that were floated by Sanjay Bhandari, and the proceeds of crime were essentially being diverted through multiple companies based out of places like Dubai and various other countries.
Right. Many thanks, Shravan, for joining us there and for putting that into perspective. So it's a huge development, a major victory for the Modi government as the UK Home Secretary orders the extradition of Sanjay Bhandari, who is wanted on many charges of money laundering. And it's a big win for the Modi government and huge trouble for the known Vadra aide. Shravan Sen with us on that story. Let's move on now to other top stories that we are tracking at this hour. The second day of BJP's National Executive Meeting to take place today in the national capital. Meeting to conclude with Prime Minister's valedictory address. BJP election presidents of Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana and Mizoram to present their state reports as well. Nepal Army resumes search operations in Pokhara after Nepal aircraft crash. Body of another passenger who was missing found late last evening. Nepal police sources claim the number of passengers unaccounted for now stands at 2. A total of 70 bodies have been recovered from the site. Bajrang Dal scheduled to hold protest at district centres in the country today and tomorrow. Also likely to submit a memorandum to President Draupadi Murmu through district magistrates urging what they call the neutralization of jihadist designs on Bharat. Karnataka Contractors Associations release audio of BJP MLA G.H. Thippa Reddy allegedly demanding bribe from contractor Manjunath. However, now the BJP MLA has clarified on the charges, saying this is all lies and that he has nothing to do with it. Chandigarh mayor elections slated to take place today. Meanwhile, poaching fears continue among major parties, forcing them to shift councillors to other states as a defensive and protective measure. Major clash between Youth Congress and RSS workers in Kannur during a festival. 4 people injured. Police complaint registered against both factions. Major fire breaks out in 4-storied building in Bihar's Nawada district caused by short circuit. Sources claim a woman saved her life jumping down from the 3rd floor of a building. Police complaint registered and injured rushed to hospital. Election Commission all set to hear Shiv Sena symbol and name dispute today as the tussle between the Eknath Shinde and Uddhav Thackeray factions continues. While the Shinde faction has staked its claim on the name Shiv Sena, Uddhav Thackeray says that his party is the real Shiv Sena. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman hits out at the opposition, says that negative campaigning has been done by the opposition on the BJP and specifically on the Prime Minister. She further added that negative and wrong language has been used for Prime Minister Modi. In exclusive conversation with Republic, Assam DGP Bhaskar Jyoti Mahanta has assured that the crackdown on the PFI in the state is still on. Further adds that 9 terror modules busted and 43 arrested so far. And coming up in other news that we're tracking throughout the day, from Waziristan to Gilgit-Baltistan, anger on the streets as crisis hits Pakistan. And also coming up, UN lists Pak's Abdul Rahman Makki as global terrorist under sanctions committee.
When timeless European design meets cutting-edge technology, it's QO. QO, European Bath Lounges.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 10 years, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
No one has questioned Vijay Mallya like Republic.
Mr. Mallya, why the question is bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? ED and the CBI charge sheet is very clear. Why is it that the defense witness says that these White approached the IDBI question? Why is there this trying to evasion of the questions that have been put by the CBI and the ED, sir?
No one has exposed Mehul Choksi like Republic. We don't preach journalism. We practice it. Republic is the news.
The biggest news.
So in your view, what was the role of the media at a time when national security can be jeopardized? So do you think there was a section of the narrative, people, media, whatever, wittingly or unwittingly, for example, vis-a-vis Pakistan normalizing terrorism?
I think the real debate with Pakistan is not should you talk to Pakistan or not talk to Pakistan. It is what should you talk to Pakistan about. And there has been clarity in the last 5 years that unless we address the issue of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, talking about anything else doesn't make sense.
The biggest newsmakers.
How's the faster rollout of 5G made possible? Were you working on deadlines?
We have a leadership which believes in performance, which believes in delivery, which believes in making sure that whatever people's aspirations are, those aspirations are met with full vigor, full force, full commitment.
The biggest news.
The Chinese economy is not as attractive as it used to be. The American economy is hinged on an overextension. It is fragile, it is overstretched. But if India is to emerge as an alternative, I hate to sound cruel about it, America has to fall. Can America course correct?
Whatever happens to America, the worst affected country will be China.
So they'll fall together.
Serious problems, because the kind of problems that China will face if the export-driven economy receives a setback, I don't think the Chinese system will be able to manage.
The biggest newsmakers.
Your government says bring in the CA, change the legislation. You are saying that Hindus from Bangladesh should come, but they are also foreigners. This changes the full premise of the same students' agitation with which you have been associated yourself.
Hindu doesn't have any address except India. As an Indian, no one can deny the rights of persecuted Hindu to come back to their own motherland. Can Hindu go to Arab? Can Hindu go to Pakistan? Can Hindu go to certain other country? Hindus has to come here.
Alright, we start with Newsbreak coming in. This one from poll-bound Karnataka, where a notice has been served to BJP MLA Basan Go Patil Yatnal. He's been given a 15 days time by the top command. We given to understand this comes after he abused and insulted the Chief Minister of Karnataka. In fact, we given to understand that Yatnal had recently attended a protest, following which he hit out at his own party members. Prajwal joining us live. Prajwal, take us through the details here. We given to understand that the BJP MLA has been given 15 days time by the party high command.
Yes, Samiksha. Now, mainly Basangauda Patil Yatnal has been served a notice by the BJP's Central Disciplinary Committee after a report was given out by the State Disciplinary Committee, which is headed by Lingraj Patil, on 3 counts. One for insulting Chief Minister Baswaraj Bommai, one for hitting out against the state government of Karnataka, and thirdly for calling out the industries.
All right, cutting across to those live visuals coming in right now. It's day 2 of BJP's National Executive Meet. The visuals coming in right now of Home Minister Amit Shah arriving for day 2 of BJP's National Executive Meet. Piyush Mishra there at the location getting us those details. Piyush, take us to the agenda for today's National Executive Meet. Of course, visuals coming in of Home Minister Amit Shah arriving for the meeting.
Yes, well, certainly right now we are getting these visuals of Home Minister Amit Shah, who is now arriving for BJP's National Executive Meet. Remember that it's day 2 of BJP's National Executive Meet. It is the second most important organization in BJP of decision making, and most important organization in BJP of decision making. And today on day 2, many decisions are going to be taken by BJP as to how to go ahead as far as fighting upcoming state assembly polls are concerned. Remember that there are 9 assembly elections on which BJP is going to put all its efforts, and it is because BJP is also seeing it as a prelude to 2024 Lok Sabha elections. At the same time, BJP is also focusing on strengthening the root level organization, booth level organization in all these states. In fact, out of these 9 upcoming state assembly elections, many are the one who have the BJP government. Either BJP is ruling alone or in coalition. There are few states in northeast where BJP is ruling the government in coalition. So the main objective, focus of BJP would be to strengthen that particular state where BJP does not have government, and also to focus on the states where it has its government. So it's going to be a big day for BJP's National Executive Meet. I would ask my video journalist CP Singh to once try to show you the pictures from right outside the National Executive Meet, where the top leaders have started arriving. You can clearly see Home Minister Amit Shah to be here any minute from now. Before that, Yogi Adityanath and many others have already reached, and as we are speaking, we are already seeing few union ministers also arriving here as the meeting is all set to begin. In few minutes from now, we will also see PM Narendra Modi to also reach here. Remember that the focus would be to strengthen the BJP's unit there in the upcoming assembly elections, and also to focus on 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Remember that BJP is already reaching out to the workers, to the people, and now we are seeing Vasundhara Raje arriving, Vinay Sahasrabudhe, BJP MP, even he is arriving. We can also see Anil Banuni standing there, BJP media coordinator. So top leaders have reached here. In few minutes from now, we will also see PM Narendra Modi to also reach here. So it's going to be very important day of BJP's National Executive, where top decisions are going to be taken. In fact, political and economic resolutions are going to be passed. After this very short break, we will be getting more and more details as PM Narendra Modi is also to reach here at 9:50. We will be getting all the live visuals as BJP's National Executive Meet continues to take place in National Capital. Stay tuned for all the live updates.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 10 years, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
When timeless European design meets cutting-edge technology, it's QO. QO, European Bath Lounges.
The biggest news.
So in your view, what was the role of the media at a time when national security can be jeopardized? So do you think there was a section of the narrative, people, media, whatever, wittingly or unwittingly, for example, vis-a-vis Pakistan normalizing terrorism?
I think the real debate with Pakistan is not should you talk to Pakistan or not talk to Pakistan. It is what should you talk to Pakistan about. And there has been clarity in the last 5 years that unless we address the issue of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, talking about anything else doesn't make sense.
The biggest newsmakers.
How's the faster rollout of 5G made possible? Were you working on deadlines?
We have a leadership which believes in performance, which believes in delivery, which believes in making sure that whatever people's aspirations are, those aspirations are met with full vigor, full force, full commitment.
The biggest news.
The Chinese economy is not as attractive as it used to be. The American economy is hinged on an overextension. It is fragile, it is overstretched. But if India is to emerge as an alternative, I hate to sound cruel about it, America has to fall. Can America course correct?
Whatever happens to America, the worst affected country will be China.
So they'll fall together.
Serious problems, because the kind of problems that China will face if the export-driven economy receives a setback, I don't think the Chinese system will be able to manage.
The biggest newsmakers.
Your government says bring in the CA, change the legislation. You are saying that Hindus from Bangladesh should come, but they are also foreigners. This changes the full premise of the same students' agitation with which you have been associated yourself. Hindu doesn't have any address except India. As an Indian, no one can deny the rights of persecuted Hindu to come back to their own motherland. Can Hindu go to Arab? Can Hindu go to Pakistan? Can Hindu go to certain other country? Hindus has to come here. Threat.
Now we will see PM Narendra Modi reaching here at NDMC Convention Center in National Capital, where he will take part in second day of BJP's National Executive Meet. Right behind me, we are now showing you the visuals of Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also reaching here, and there are top leaders who are already standing there to welcome the senior leaders reaching here. So now we are also seeing Prakash Javadekar reaching, Arjuna Meghwal is now reaching. So all the union ministers are also reaching, and today it's going to be mega meet of BJP, where it is going to take decision, political decision, economic resolutions are going to be passed today. Also, I would ask my video journalist CP Singh to show you a very interesting backdrop which has been put up here at NDMC Convention Center, where we are seeing the photographs of Vande Bharat Express and also the kind of achievements in Indian Defence Forces in ISRO. So we are seeing as to how the achievement of this government has also been placed here in the backdrop, showing as to how and what the kind of work the BJP-led government has done. So the main focus of this meet is going to be upcoming state assembly polls and also 2024 Lok Sabha elections, because these polls, state assembly polls, are being seen as prelude to 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Any minute from now, PM Narendra Modi will be reaching. After this very short break, we will be getting live updates as a mega meet of BJP continues to take place in National Capital. Stay tuned for all the live updates.
The biggest news.
The Chinese economy is not as attractive as it used to be. The American economy is hinged on an overextension. It is fragile, it is overstretched. But if India is to emerge as an alternative, I hate to sound cruel about it, America has to fall. Can America course correct?
Whatever happens to America, the worst affected country will be China.
So they'll fall together.
Serious problems, because the kind of problems that China will face if the export-driven economy receives a setback, I don't think the Chinese system will be able to manage.
The biggest newsmakers.
Your government says bring in the CA, change the legislation. You are saying that Hindus from Bangladesh should come, but they are also foreigners. This changes the full premise of the same students' agitation with which you have been associated yourself. Hindu doesn't have any address except India. As a Indian, no one can deny the rights of persecuted Hindu to come back to their own motherland. Can Hindu go to Arab? Can Hindu go to Pakistan? Can Hindu go to certain other country? Hindus has to come here.
Threat to the Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, the accused, has been identified as J.S. Pujari, one of the inmates of Hindalga jail in Belagavi, and a team of the Nagpur police along with the ATS also visited the Hindalga jail, and it is now being understood that he has been grilled for several hours. The police have found out that one set of the phone numbers belong to businessmen and VVIPs whom J.S. Pujari was going on and targeting and making threat calls from inside the jail.
Maharashtra's district of Gadchiroli, another action between the Maoists and the security forces, effort of CRPF and Maharashtra police, number of Naxals in this area is slowly reducing. Retaliatory action that was taken by the Maharashtra police, there was firing of gunshots by the Maoists also. We do not know about the casualties as such. The operation is going.
No one has questioned Vijay Mallya like Republic.
Mr. Mallya, why are the questions bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? ED and the CBI charge sheet is very clear. Why is it that the defense witness says that these wide approach the IDBI question? Why is there this trying to evasion of the questions that have been put by the CBI and the ED, sir?
No one has exposed Mehul Choksi like Republic. We don't preach journalism. We practice it. Republic is the news.
The biggest news.
So in your view, what was the role of the media at a time when national security can be jeopardized? So do you think there was a section of the narrative, people, media, whatever, wittingly or unwittingly, for example, vis-a-vis Pakistan normalizing terrorism?
I think the real debate with Pakistan is not should you talk to Pakistan or not talk to Pakistan. It is what should you talk to Pakistan about. And there has been clarity in the last 5 years that unless we address the issue of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, talking about anything else.
So we are getting live updates from NDMC Convention Center where this meeting is underway of BJP's national executive in national capital where top leaders have started arriving. I would ask if Anil to once show you the pictures of Jitendra Singh, his union minister who has arrived, and just a couple of minutes back we also saw Haryana's Chief Minister Manonlal Khattar also reaching. So the leaders are standing here to welcome their topmost leader Narendra Modi. PM Narendra Modi is all set to reach any minute from now. He was supposed to reach at 9:50, so any minute from now PM Narendra Modi will be reaching here. So it's a mega national executive meet of BJP, and we are showing you live pictures from right there inside the NDMC Convention Center where this meet is going on. Stay tuned for all the updates. After this short break, we will be getting live pictures as BJP's national executive meet continues to take place in national capital.
Threat to the Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, the accused, has been identified as J.S. Pujari, one of the inmates of Hindalga jail in Belagavi, and a team of the Nagpur police along with the ATS also visited the Hindalga jail, and it is now being understood that he has been grilled for several hours. The police have found out that one set of the phone numbers belong to businessmen and VVIPs whom J.S. Pujari was going on and targeting and making threat calls from inside the jail.
Maharashtra's district of Gadchiroli, another action between the Maoists and the security forces, effort of CRPF and Maharashtra police, number of Naxals in this area is slowly reducing. Retaliatory action that was taken by the Maharashtra police, there was firing of gunshots by the Maoists also. We do not know about the casualties as such. The operation is going.
No one has questioned Vijay Mallya like Republic.
Mr. Mallya, why are the questions bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? ED and the CBI charge sheet is very clear. Why is it that the defense witness says that these wide approach the IDBI question? Why is there this trying to evasion of the questions that have been put by the CBI and the ED, sir?
No one has exposed Mehul Choksi like Republic. We don't preach journalism. We practice it. Republic is the news.
The biggest news.
So in your view, what was the role of the media at a time when national security can be jeopardized? So do you think there was a section of the narrative, people, media, whatever, wittingly or unwittingly, for example, vis-a-vis Pakistan normalizing terrorism?
I think the real debate with Pakistan is not should you talk to Pakistan or not talk to Pakistan. It is what should you talk to Pakistan about. And there has been clarity in the last 5 years that unless we address the issue of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, talking about anything else doesn't make sense.
The biggest newsmakers.
How's the faster rollout of 5G made possible? Were you working on deadlines?
We have a leadership which believes in performance, which believes in delivery, which believes in making sure that whatever people's aspirations are, those aspirations are met with full vigor, full force, full commitment.
The biggest news.
The Chinese economy is not.
It is a massive win for the government. The UK Home Secretary orders fugitive Sanjay Bhandari's extradition. After a grand roadshow on day one, stage is set for the BJP's National Executive meeting to take key decisions. The Aam Aadmi Party versus the LG showdown continues, this time over the teachers' Finland trip. Mega pre-poll controversy hits the BJP in Karnataka. Contractors Association makes bribe-gate charge. From Waziristan to Gilgit-Baltistan, anger on the streets as crisis hits Pakistan. And the UN lists Pakistan's Abdul Rahman Makki as a global terrorist under Sanctions Committee. Good morning and thank you very much for staying with us. This is Live and Breaking. I'm Nupur Talwar Suri. We begin with news that's just coming in over government land in Kalburgi district being named Tipu Circle and a picture of Tipu Sultan being installed now. The land belongs to a local civic authority and Tipu Sultan's picture was installed 3 years ago. Pro-Hindu organizations have demanded that the picture should be removed from the spot and local civic authorities have now issued a notice again stating that the picture should now be removed. Locals are angered that the government has been used for this. Let's in fact go across to Prajwal. Now Prajwal, we're given to understand that these pictures were installed about 3 years ago by the civic authority. What is the main contention that these organizations have against this?
Now, one of the major reasons is that this particular land belongs to the Ratgal Gram Panchayat in Kalburgi, and this is a government land measuring 1,000 square feet, and it has been given to the Gram Panchayat by the state government to carry out any sort of developmental works in that region or to build any sort of structure which would be of utility to the public. But then now it is being learnt that 4 people have gone on to install a name board stating that this is Tipu Circle, and they have also put an image of Tipu Sultan there, and this has caused a lot of public outrage in the region, saying that many other development works could have been carried out across this 1,000 square feet of land which is being which is at the center of the Ratgal Gram Panchayat, and why is this being done so? So therefore initially a notice was served on the 1st of December in 2022, again a second notice was served on the 15th of December in 2022, and finally as the respondents have failed to act on it, it, the government authorities, which also includes the Gram Panchayat authorities, who are the local civic authorities there, have gone on to vacate this land. They have taken out the name board stating Tipu Circle, and now they have stated that this particular land belongs to the government and trespassers will be prosecuted. And in this regard, there was a lot of tension in the area, because despite repeated notices being served, the people did not appear in front. The people who had gone on to install this name board as well as the naming of Tipu Circle did not appear before the civic authorities, and therefore it had to be taken to the court. So once it was taken to the court, there was a lot of tension within the area. But now finally the government has served a notice and they have given the document stating that the land belongs to them, and therefore they need to carry out developmental works in the form of building toilets, or else in the form of building a civic body which would also go on to act as an information center for the locals over there, which would also highlight the government schemes, and they would be the beneficiaries of it. Now, and 1,000 square feet of land should not be used, and government land should not be used for any other sort of... Yeah.
Now, Prajwal, the other side of the story also is, how did civic authorities allow for this to essentially go unnoticed for 3 years or so? I mean, that's what we are learning, that it was about 3 years ago that this, this board was installed over there. So, what are you hearing from civic authorities in terms of what went wrong?
Essentially, first an RTI case was filed over here as to who does this land belong to, because there was a lot of contention over who the land belongs to, whether it belongs to the claimants of the land or whether it belongs to the government. And once there was a complete detail which the RTI highlighted, stating that the land belongs to the government, the pro-Hindu groups were the ones who had gone on to file this RTI. And after they got the complete details, they submitted the documents to the civic authorities, and only then did the civic authorities wake up and serve the notice. Until then, the civic authorities themselves did not have any sort of idea as to the land that belonged to the government was given to the Gram Panchayat, but it was basically acquired by 4 other people. And in this regard, a notice has been served to one Hamid is being learnt now, and therefore they have gone on to claim on this land. And now the public has also gone on to hit out against the civic authorities too, asking them as to why was the developmental work, why was the information center not established 3 years ago, right, and what they were doing, Nupur.
All right. So obviously, questions being raised on both sides right now. Thank you very much for joining us right now, Prajwal.
Security has been beefed up in Uttar Pradesh's Ayodhya after 2 terrorists were arrested in the national capital. According to the Delhi police, these terrorists were tasked to carry out targeted attacks on the right-wing Hindu leaders. Notably, an alert has been issued in the city, and strict surveillance of vehicles is being done to avert an untoward incident in the city where the construction of Ram Temple is underway. Meanwhile, Acharya Satyendra Das Ji Maharaj, chief priest of Ram Janmabhoomi Ayodhya, said that the terrorists would be eliminated if they are conspiring an attack on the Ram Temple. The development comes days ahead of the Republic Day celebration, for which security has been beefed up in the entire city. Remember, these terrorists were identified as Jagjit Singh, a resident of Uttarakhand's Udham Singh Nagar, and Naushad Ali, hailing from Jahangir Puri area of the national capital. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
Now, with the BJP holding its national executive meeting in the national capital, party chiefs of the 4 poll-bound states presented ground reports before the top leadership on Monday. Now, sources have said that there was a comprehensive discussion on these reports. It was also said that a roadmap will be prepared based on these reports to ensure victory in poll-bound states. The 2-day national executive of the BJP started on Monday at the NDMC Convention Centre in Delhi. Prime Minister Modi, the BJP's national president JP Nadda, union ministers including the Home Minister Amit Shah, the chief ministers of BJP-ruled states and other senior party leaders are participating in the key meeting. The meeting will conclude today with the Prime Minister's valedictory address. Piyush Mishra is reporting live from New Delhi on this. Piyush, good morning. Piyush, there is, of course, a lot on the agenda that is likely to be discussed, but we are specifically perhaps today looking at extension being given to JP Nadda.
So this is what we are learning is that extension is likely to be given to JP Nadda as the BJP's national president. Remember that one extension has already been given to JP Nadda as BJP's national president. And once again, we can see that's to take place. But it is also important to highlight about today's national executive. Well, it is also mentioned to highlight about today's national executive, Nupur. Remember that it's a day 2 of BJP's national executive where the focus would once again be on the upcoming state assembly polls as these polls are being seen as a prelude to 2024 Lok Sabha elections. And before that, the BJP... Yesterday, BJP's national president, while addressing to the workers and also leaders, had highlighted about the fact that BJP will have to ensure that each and every state assembly election is won by BJP, and the formula of a campaign against Gujarat that should be implemented in these 9 states. In fact, today, 9 states. In fact, today, C.R. Patil, BJP's Gujarat chief, is going to address to BJP's national executive, where he is going to tell the mantra, tell the formula which they implemented there in Gujarat campaign, where unprecedented victory was gained by BJP there in Gujarat. So today is a very important day as far as the day 2 of BJP's national executive is concerned. Any minute from now, we can expect PM Narendra Modi also to reach here. I would ask Anil Sharma, my video journalist, to try to show you pictures from right at the entry gate of this national executive, where we are also seeing SPG personnel have been deployed. Any minute from now, we can expect PM Narendra Modi also to reach. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has already arrived here. In fact, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is here. BJP's national president JP Nadda, Yogi Adityanath, C.R. Patil, Jitendra Singh, Pushkar Dhami, Manolal Khattar. Almost the leadership, top leadership, has already reached here, and a few minutes from now, we will see PM Narendra Modi also to reach here. At 10:30, the most important point here, Nupur, is that at 10:30 a.m., Union External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar would also be addressing to the gathering. Before that, let me try to show you a very important picture. I would ask Anil to show you and zoom his camera on B.S. Yediyurappa, very important leader. He is now entering inside the BJP's national executive meet. Why he is important? He is important because sources are telling Nupur that yesterday PM Narendra Modi had a one-to-one interaction with B.S. Yediyurappa. In fact, this interaction took place for at least 15 minutes, and that was taking place, just ahead of the elections in the state of Karnataka. Remember that Karnataka is also going to be a topmost priority for BJP, as BJP has been on a winning streak in the state, and Karnataka, the southernmost state, is the one where we are seeing as to how BJP has been performing very good. So Karnataka is also going to be a very important state for BJP, and that is why one-to-one interaction took place. After Karnataka, Telangana is also the another southern state on which BJP's focus would be there, and that is why sources are telling us from the BJP's national executive that PM Narendra Modi has now told to BJP workers to go all guns blazing there in the Karnataka, there in the Telangana elections campaign too. So it's about the strategy of BJP, and also we are seeing pictures of Pushkar Singh Dhami entering inside the BJP's national executive meeting. So today, multiple decisions are to be taken. Economic and political resolutions are to be passed by BJP's second topmost body. Any minute from now, PM Narendra Modi would also be reaching here, and this executive meet, Nupur, is also being seen as the focus point of where the leaders are going to brainstorm as to how to reach out to voters in upcoming state assembly polls, and after that 2024 Lok Sabha elections too. Nupur.
Absolutely, Piyush Mishra bringing us those details from the national executive meeting that's being held in the national capital. Thank you very much for joining us for the moment. We'll come back to you later. And here's a look at what else we'll be covering through the day today. Now, the second day of the BJP's national executive meeting, of course, is taking place today in the national capital. The meeting will conclude with the Prime Minister's valedictory address. BJP's election presidents of Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana and Mizoram will also be presenting their reports. The Nepalese army has resumed search operations in Pokhara after the Nepal aircraft crash. The body of another passenger who was missing was found late last evening. The Nepalese police sources have claimed that the number of passengers unaccounted for now stands at 2. A total of 70 bodies have been recovered so far. The Bajrang Dal is scheduled to hold a protest at district centres in the country today and tomorrow. They are also likely to submit a memorandum to the President Draupadi Murmu through the district magistrates, using this to neutralise jihadist designs on Bharat. The Karnataka Contractors Association has released an audio of the BJP MLA G.H. Thipareddy allegedly demanding bribe from a contractor Manjunath. However, now the BJP MLA has clarified on the bribe acquisition charges and said that it's all lies and he has nothing to do with it. The Chandigarh mayoral elections are slated to take place today. Meanwhile, poaching fears continued in major parties and forced parties to shift their councillors to other states. A major clash took place between the Youth Congress and the RSS workers in Kannur during a festival. 4 people were injured. A police complaint has been registered against both sides. A major fire broke out in a 4-story building in Bihar's Nawada district caused by a short circuit. Sources claim that a woman saved her life by jumping down from the 3rd floor. A police complaint has been registered. The Election Commission is all set to hear the Shiv Sena symbol and name dispute today as the tussle between the Eknath Shinde faction and the Uddhav Thackeray faction continues. The Shinde Sena has staked its claim over the name. Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray says that his party is the real Shiv Sena. The finance minister has hit out at opposition parties, saying that negative campaigning has been done by the opposition to specifically target the Prime Minister. She further added that negative language that's been used. Republic TV spoke to the Assam DGP, who has assured that the PFI crackdown is still on. He further added that 9 terror modules have been busted and 43 have been arrested so far. Well, we are cutting across to news that we are just getting. We are learning that in Jammu and Kashmir, gunshots have been heard near the district court in Budgam. Forces have rushed to the spot. Further details are still awaited. Some news reports seem to suggest that 2 people have been injured in this firing. This firing has taken place near the district court of Budgam. Terrorists, we are told, are perhaps also trapped in there in that area. Let's try and go across to Zeenat, who is reporting live from Srinagar. Right, Zeenat, if you are there with us, take us through what happened. Zeenat, can you hear me? All right, pictures on your screen are of the Prime Minister arriving on day 2 of the BJP strategy meeting that is being held in the national capital. He is, of course, accompanied by JP Nadda. The sitting president of the BJP right now also likely to get an extension, perhaps today, for another 2 years. Senior leaders of the BJP also there, along with the Prime Minister. Do remember that this is the 2nd day of the BJP's national executive meeting that is taking place in the capital. On agenda, of course, are developing key strategies for the assembly polls as well as for the national elections perhaps of 2024. So we are told that various state presidents of the BJP have submitted reports and those also are being discussed. Piyush joining us right now. Piyush, our pictures on our screen are of the Prime Minister arriving. He's of course accompanied by the BJP national president JP Nadda. Piyush, can you hear us? All right, I don't think we've got Piyush quite yet with us. We'll go back to him in just a bit. But as we were earlier talking about, this is of course being looked upon as the big meeting of the BJP's top brass ahead of assembly polls that will be conducted in 9 states this year, and thereafter, of course, the big national elections of 2024. On the agenda is looking at the strategy, also perhaps looking at how the BJP can retain power in those states that it already has power, in the states that are going to polls, and of course get power in those that it doesn't. Piyush, I think, is with us right now. Piyush, the Prime Minister has just arrived. Now today, of course, the agenda is going to be around the state elections. Tell us more.
Well, certainly PM Narendra Modi is going to give the winning mantra to BJP's national executive. Remember that it's the second day of BJP's national executive, and PM Narendra Modi has just arrived. He has just entered inside this very venue of BJP's national executive, where already the leaders are present. Remember that the top leaders like JP Nadda, Rajnath Singh, Home Minister Amit Shah, they all are already present as PM Modi arrives, and he is going to tell to them as to how to focus on upcoming state assembly elections. Remember that there are around 9 state assembly where the elections are going to take place, in which the biggest states are Telangana, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, on which the complete focus would be there of BJP, as BJP believes that it is going to have its government in all these states. Now let us tell to our viewers about the BJP's presence in upcoming in the states where the elections are also to take place. BJP has its government in Madhya Pradesh, also in a few northeastern states, in Mizoram also, and also BJP is now eyeing to have its state in Chhattisgarh, in Rajasthan, and also in Karnataka and Telangana. BJP has its government in Karnataka. So Karnataka and Telangana are also going to be the important states on which BJP would be focusing on. These are southern states where BJP is going to put all its efforts. As far as Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh is concerned, they are also the states where BJP is going to pull out all its might, and that would be basically what we are learning is that the campaign for the upcoming state assembly elections would be led by PM Narendra Modi. What we are also learning from our sources is that C.R. Patil, BJP's Gujarat chief, is also going to address BJP's national executive, because he is the one who can tell to BJP national executive as to how he implemented the winning campaign there in Gujarat, where BJP performed too well. It had got the good number of seats. Unprecedented performance was shown by BJP in Gujarat. So C.R. Patil is going to tell that. Yesterday, BJP's national president JP Nadda had also, while speaking during his address, focused on to how BJP can repeat its aggressive campaign in the upcoming state assembly polls and then in 2024 Lok Sabha elections. So strategy meet is basically taking place, where brainstorming will take place as to how to reach out to the voters in upcoming state assembly polls, because these state elections are being seen as the prelude to 2024 elections. It is also important to point out as to how BJP not only performed well in Gujarat but also in Delhi, in Himachal too. There are lessons also those have been learnt by BJP from Himachal, where BJP's national president JP Nadda yesterday, according to sources, had said that even the government, even BJP could not form the government, but it was able to perform too well there in the state. But still, there are some lessons those need to be learned from these elections too, where BJP has lost. So the BJP's focus would basically be as to how to win the upcoming state assembly elections and to ensure that BJP is able to form its government in all the 9 states, because a message would be sent out to voters, where voters would once again be reposing their faith, reposing their trust in the leadership of PM Narendra Modi. Any minute from now, we can also expect PM to take a series of meetings. In fact, as we are speaking, he has just reached. He is going to address the BJP's national executive at 4 p.m. Let me also tell you very important development which is going to take place at 10:30 a.m. At 10:30 a.m., Union External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is also going to address to the BJP's national executive, where he is going to brief the kind of arrangements, the kind of preparations which the government has done as far as holding series of conclaves on G20 is concerned. I would ask Anil to pan his camera and show you a huge backdrop which has been put up here of G20 also. Not only G20, there are multiple backdrop. Those have been put up here at the entry point of BJP's national executive, where there is a cutout of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, there is cutout of Ram Mandir, there is cutout of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's statue, also there is cutout of Vande Bharat, also the cutout of different achievements that have been achieved by BJP government in the last 5 years and before that from 2014 to 2019 too. So the basic focus of BJP would be the kind of achievements which it has achieved so far under the leadership of PM Narendra Modi, and also how to reach out to people and to tell them about its achievement. Today's meet is going to focus on BJP's performance also, not only in Gujarat but also in Himachal Pradesh,
right,
and then to learn lessons out of these wins and also defeats which it faced in Himachal and Delhi. As far as the assembly elections are concerned, BJP has put all its might, where PM Narendra Modi is going to be once again the poster boy who would be leading campaign. C.R. Patil will be addressing national executive, where he will be giving a mantra as to how to reach out to voters in these 9 state assembly elections also, and to formulate a strategy so that BJP ensures that it has its government in these elections too.
Oh yes, absolutely. As Piyush is pointing out, obviously there's a lot that we are expecting today from the BJP's National Executive meeting. Do remember that the valedictory address of the Prime Minister begins at about 4 this evening. Piyush Mishra reporting on this from New Delhi. Thank you for the moment. And here's a look at what else is coming up next. It's a massive win for the Modi government. The UK Home Secretary orders the fugitive Sanjay Bhandari's extradition. And another pre-poll controversy in Karnataka. Contractors Association makes bribe-gate charge.
When timeless European design meets cutting-edge technology, it's QO. QO, European bath lounges.
Maharashtra's district of Gadchiroli, another action between the Maoists and the security forces, effort of CRPF and Maharashtra police. Number of Naxals in this area is slowly reducing. Retaliatory action that was taken by the Maharashtra police. There was firing of gunshots by the Maoists also. We do not know about the casualties as such. The operation is going.
No one has questioned Vijay Mallya like Republic.
Mr. Mallya, why the question is bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? ED and the CBI charge sheet is very clear. Why is it that the defense witness says that why approach the IDBI question? Why is there this trying to evasion of the questions that have been put by the CBI and the ED, sir?
No one has exposed Mehul Choksi like Republic. We don't preach journalism. We practice it. Republic is the news.
The biggest news.
So in your view, what was the role of the media at a time when national security can be jeopardized? So do you think there was a section of the narrative, people, media, whatever, wittingly or unwittingly, for example, vis-a-vis Pakistan normalizing terrorism?
I think the real debate with Pakistan is not should you talk to Pakistan or not talk to Pakistan. It is what should you talk to Pakistan about. And there has been clarity in the last 5 years that unless we address the issue of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, talking about anything else doesn't make sense.
The biggest newsmakers.
How's the faster rollout of 5G made possible? Were you working on deadlines?
We have a leadership which believes in performance, which believes in delivery, which believes in making sure that whatever people's aspirations are, those aspirations are met with full vigor, full force, full commitment.
The biggest news.
The Chinese economy is not as attractive as it used to be. The American economy is hinged on an overextension. It is fragile, it is overstretched. But if India is to emerge as an alternative, I hate to sound cruel about it, America has to fall. Can America course correct?
Whatever happens to America, the worst affected country will be China.
So they'll fall together.
Serious problems, because the kind of problems that China will face if the export-driven economy receives a setback, I don't think the Chinese system will be able to manage.
The biggest newsmakers.
The headlines at this hour: massive win for the Modi government. UK Home Secretary orders Fugitive Bhandari's extradition. After grand roadshow on day one, stage set for day two of the BJP's National Executive Meet. AAP versus LG showdown in the national capital. The two lock horns again, this time over teachers' Finland trip. Mega pre-poll controversy hits the BJP in Karnataka. Contractors Association makes bribegate charge. From Waziristan to Gilgit-Baltistan, anger on the streets as crisis hits Pakistan. And the United Nations lists Pakistan's Abdul Rahman Makki as a global terrorist under the Sanctions Committee. Hello and welcome. You're watching Live and Breaking here on Republic. I'm Rukma with you, and we start off with news coming in from Jammu and Kashmir. Breaking news from Jammu and Kashmir, where gunshots have been heard near the district court in Budgam. This is Jammu and Kashmir's Budgam, and gunshots heard outside the district court there. Forces have rushed to the spot, and further details are awaited. Reports suggest that two terrorists have been gunned down in what appears to be an encounter. Zenat joining us from Jammu and Kashmir on the phone line. Zenat, give us more details. It's still very sketchy, but we're hearing that gunshots heard outside the district court in Budgam. So we are hearing, we're getting you breaking news from Budgam in Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, it's just days before 26 January, Republic Day, and entire Jammu and Kashmir is on high alert. Security forces there in the vicinity of the district court in Budgam, from where we are hearing that firing was heard. We also hear that two terrorists have been gunned down, but for the actual details, we are now joined by my colleague Zenat, who joins us from Budgam. Zenat, what can you tell us about this latest encounter? Jammu and Kashmir on high alert, now shots heard outside the district court in Budgam.
Rupa, we are seeing that the JNK is on alert because ahead of Republic Day, but these are what we are picking from sources, that these are the same terrorists who were escaped recently just on Sunday from the Red Book of Budgam, and they were going in this Budgam area only. And today in a chance encounter near this district court Budgam, they have been neutralized. We are waiting for the official confirmation. The report suggests that the two terrorists have been neutralized, and also the two civilians have been injured in this encounter. As of now, the constant search operation continues in the area, but this is going to be fantastic for the Budgam police, because recently just SSP Budgam has joined and first encounter of the 2022, where two terrorists, as per our sources, that the terrorists are from the Lashkar-e-Taiba. They are the newly recruited terrorists. That is what we are picking from the sources. They have been neutralized in this chance encounter. They fired some gunshots near this district court, Budgam. Some 30 shots were heard by the locals, and people started rushing for their lives. And meanwhile, we also saw that how the army actually chipped in for the encounter. Yes, from the sources that the two terrorists have been neutralized. So first encounter of 2023 in Badgam encounter, where we are picking that the terrorists have been neutralized.
Meanwhile, well, we are seeing those visuals, Zinat, and it appears that all civilians are safe. But there was some information about civilians also being injured. If you can tell us more.
See, these are the visuals that we are seeing are from the Badgam. In fact, this is the spot where the gunshots were heard, and the visuals are given by my DJ Mubashir, who is there here on the spot. And we are speaking from the sources that the two civilians have received injuries, although we are not allowed to go near the spot where exactly the encounter was reported. But this is the main area where the encounter was reported, and because the gunshots were heard, but the way the cordon was put in, the tight cordon was laid by J&K police, the Pulwama, Badgam police, along with 65 RR. They were the two who were the part of this operation, where we are thinking that the two terrorists have been neutralized, and they are the one who recently on Sunday managed to escape from the Red Book area of Central Kashmir, Badgam.
So Zinat reporting there. Viewers, you're watching those visuals there that Zinat's VJ is bringing you from Badgam. As she said, that entire area has been cordoned off. So, well, from close proximity, it's not possible. But Zinat, tell our viewers more about the incident site. It's biting cold there, is it?
Absolutely. Srinagar and other parts of the Kashmir Valley is witnessing temperature in minus degrees. In Pahalgam, it was around minus 11, and as well as the Gulmarg minus 10. Similarly, Srinagar we witnessed also the minus 1.2. So it is really difficult for the people at the moment when we are under the grip of Jallikattu, the harsh cold season of the winters. Despite that, we are seeing the forces all out, and they manage this time to neutralize their terrorists. That is what we are thinking. We are waiting for the official confirmation or the tweet coming from the Kashmir police zone. But we are picking from the sources that the same one who managed recently to escape from the Red Book of Badgam, Central Kashmir.
So these are visuals, viewers, that Republic is bringing you. My colleague Zinat there in Badgam, where the firing incident took place. Two terrorists have been neutralized in this particular encounter. Civilian injuries also there, but now the area has been cordoned off. Search operations are underway. Many thanks, Zinat, for joining us.
Deep State Pakistan, which once planned to give India 1,000 cuts, is now in shambles. The people are on the roads. In Gilgit-Baltistan, the people are demanding not only food but also the basic rights. While in South Waziristan, the people are on the roads demanding that there should be law and order in Pakistan. They are saying that Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan has totally taken over the regime, and they are carrying out the terror attacks on security forces as well as the civilians, while it is same the situation in the Gilgit-Baltistan, where the people are up in arms against the Pakistani government for not giving them their rights, and also the shortage of the food. The policy of the Pakistan has totally collapsed, and the nation that is heading towards what has happened in Sri Lanka, finding it really very hard to manage the internal situation. As province after province, the protests are erupting, and with each passing day, the situation is deteriorating. With Gaurav Sahani, Gursimran Singh for Republic Media Network.
And breaking news now, in an interview, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has said that it depends on us. That's Pakistan, whether we live in peace, progress, or waste our time and resources fighting with each other. A startling statement there from the Pakistan Prime Minister just a day after he had said that it was embarrassing for him to go and seek funds from friendly countries. He says that we had 3 wars with India, and this has only brought poverty and unemployment. We have learned our lesson. We want to live peacefully now and want to solve our problems. I want to tell the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, that we want to use all these for the prosperity of the country. So a strong statement for peace and peaceful processes by the Pakistani Prime Minister after just a day after he admitted that it was embarrassing for him to seek funds, to seek money even as the country is reeling under severe power crisis. Let's listen in to the statement made by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan.
We are neighbors, and let's be very blunt. Even if we are not we are not neighbors by choice, but we are there forever, and it is up to us to live peacefully and progress, or quarrel with each other and waste time and resources. That's up to us. Pakistan has learned its lesson. We had 3 wars with India, 3. And the consequence of those wars, as a result, it only brought more miseries,
to the
unemployment,
2 nations,
poverty, and millions were demoted from their level of satisfaction to a lower level of satisfaction. We have learned our lesson, and we want to live in peace with India, provided we are able to resolve our genuine problems.
We have learnt our lesson, says Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif in a startling statement for peace with India. And he's said that he will be reaching out. He has reached out, in fact, to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It's a remark that has triggered a host of reactions from across the political arena. Let's listen into some of them.
ये हकीकत है कि 1947 से लेके आज तक हिंदुस्तान और पाकिस्तान के दरमियान में इख्तलाफात भी रहे, बीच में हालात ठीक भी होते रहे, और दोनों मुल्क इंटरनेशनल कॉन्स्पिरेसी का शिकार रहे. ये मैं सफाई से कहूँगा. दोनों मुल्कों को, चूँकि मुल्क जब अलग हुआ, होना नहीं चाहिए था, हो गया, तो उसके बाद आज तक ये जो साल बीते हैं, दोनों की आपस में हालात अच्छे नहीं रहे. और अगर ये सेंस प्रिवेल कर गई है उनके ऊपर कि नॉर्मलाइज करना है, तो ये बातों से नहीं होगा, उसके लिए प्रैक्टिकल अप्रोच करनी होगी. और ये खुशाइंद बात है कि अगर उनको ये समझ आ गई है कि जंग से कोई मसला हल नहीं होता है, और मैं अपील करूँगा कि इस चीज़ को नोटिस किया जाए और इसको बातचीत शुरू की जाए.
पाकिस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री शहबाज शरीफ ने एक इंटरव्यू में ये बात कही है कि भारत के साथ जो हमने 3 युद्ध किए हैं, उसका नतीजा कुछ नहीं निकला. भारत तो पहले से ही ये कहता आया है कि शांति बहाली के लिए काम करना चाहिए, लेकिन पाकिस्तान में जितने हुक्मरान रहे उनके कानों पर जूं तक नहीं रहती थी. आतंकवाद को बढ़ावा देना, भारत के खिलाफ भड़काना, कश्मीर को समस्या बना देना, ये जानते हुए कि यहाँ कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. पाकिस्तान में जो इंटरनल आज हालात हैं, उससे सबक सीखने की बारी है, और अंदर ही उनके आग सुलग रही है. चाहे वो बलोचिस्तान हो, कराची हो, सिंध हो, सभी जगह वो अलग होने की मांग कर रहे हैं. तो भारत ने बहुत बार हाथ बढ़ाया है. हमने पहले जब अटल जी यहाँ से बस लेकर के गए थे, उसके अलावा प्रधानमंत्री जी कटसी के लिए उनके जन्मदिन की मुबारक देने के लिए गए थे नवाज शरीफ के, लेकिन उन्होंने हर बार इसका उल्टा मतलब लिया है. भारत एक डेवलपिंग और डेवलप्ड कंट्री बन चुका है, लेकिन पाकिस्तान की जिस प्रकार से हालत है, इकट्ठे हम आज़ादी हमने मिली थी, लेकिन इन सभी को देखते हुए मुझे लगता है कि पाकिस्तान को अगर सच में इस प्रकार की अकल आई है, देर आए दुरुस्त आए, तो इस पर विचार करना चाहिए, और कोई इसके लिए मीडिएटर बनकर काम ना करे, खुद इससे बात करनी चाहिए और इससे सबक सीखना चाहिए.
So there's a storm of reactions coming in over the Pak Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's remark. Gursimran joining us with more on this story. Gursimran, a huge statement there by Shehbaz Sharif. He's made a statement for peace, to reach out to Prime Minister Modi, and he says we have learnt our lessons. But we've heard similar statements before, and Pakistan has always gone back. How heartening and how much can we accept the words of a Prime Minister whose country is on the brink, as we all know?
See, this is just a repeat telecast of what the previous Prime Ministers and the previous heads of the Pakistan have been repeatedly saying. But we know that when India put forth a foot, took a step forward, be it Atal Bihari Vajpayee going to Pakistan or Prime Minister Narendra Modi going to Shahbaz Sharif as a goodwill gesture, what has happened post that? And even if we speak of today's day, we are at a peace when it comes to the diplomatic papers that Pakistan and India has agreed on the ceasefire agreement. There is no firing on the borders going on, but the reality remains that Pakistan is in every desperate attempts to push in terrorists into the Indian territory. The recent attacks that have happened, one that was foiled in the Sidra area of Jammu, other one that has transpired in the Dangri village of the Rajouri, where 7 people were killed. This is what Pakistan is up to. Pakistan speaks something else, and the action is initiated by Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Toiba, Hizbul Mujahideen. So there is a clear-cut difference between what the Pakistani leaders say and what the ISI gets executed via its terror proxies. So the statement of the Shahbaz Sharif will only be impactful if the terror regime ends and the terrorism comes to an end, because India has made it very clear that terror and talks cannot go hand to hand. And for the matter, Pakistan has to stop the terrorism first.
Right. Gursimran will be back with you, but joining us now on the phone line is Colonel Rohit Dev. Colonel Rohit Dev, you just heard what the Pakistani Prime Minister had to say. He says Pakistan has learnt its lesson. We have to live in peace. And he's also said that, he said that it's an end to... Your response, how much would you take his words for the... how much value would you put by his words?
Right. Actually, 7 decades, right? 7 decades plus of mistrust, of deceit, of talking something and doing something else the next day has been the carol of this lullaby which Sharif wants to sing today in 7 minutes of an interview. It can't be undone. India cannot let its guard down because of one sentence by a Prime Minister who today has his back on the wall. His country is in abyss economically. Literally, they are losing their fight internally, where they're having fight with their own troops fighting with various states and various, sections. This has been ongoing in their country for last about 3 decades. They are the only country, one of the only countries in the world which has used even gunships to nail and quell unrest in their country. So I don't think so that Nawaz Sharif has got control over a manifestation of what he's saying today. He cannot get it done. It is not within his domain. He is not in power to do it. He may be the nominated head as a Prime Minister of that country, but he is not the head who can take a decision today to make a statementship like this and then approach a Prime Minister of India and try to get peace. It doesn't happen like that. India is going to wait for visual results, actionable intelligence, which will tell the country that Pakistan is mending ways. If that were to happen, and it will certainly not happen in a rush or a hurry, this is all a sort of a posturing post coming out of the grey list to start getting back the funding from where they used to get the funding, where India has been very instrumental in the last 8 years, from late Shri Sushma Swaraj's time to tap those agencies in not giving funds to Pakistan. They've been successful in most countries in the Middle East, also in the US and other countries as well. So this is coming from an angle that since now they are out in the field to ask for money, they want that credence to come by making these overtures. These overtures are internal. These overtures are probably based on some funding countries who want Shahbaz Sharif to make that noise, so that they can also talk to India and say, see, Pakistan is trying to improve. But I don't think so. India is so naive, and we have crossed that threshold of geopolitics and diplomacy, in which we don't take anything like this on a face value. We will see the results on ground, and then we'll see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when the weather pattern clears this summer and infiltration, does it happen or not from Pakistan. We will see how things go when we go towards our elections and what kind of turmoil Pakistan would try to create in this country, and especially in cahoots with some Jaychans within our country. We'll have to see that. And there's a lot of trail currently from money-wise and otherwise to see Pakistan poking its nose in very nefarious activities, including economic efforts coming through China, Turkey, and other places. I don't think so India is going to take it so lightly. Let's see the results first.
Well, many thanks, Colonel Rohit Dev. And joining me now is Brigadier Hemant Mahajan. Brigadier Mahajan, your response to Shehbaz Sharif's statement, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, a country on the brink of all types of crisis. There's total electricity shortage now, electricity outages across the country. That Prime Minister has now said, we have learnt our lessons. We want peace to fight poverty. Your response, how should we understand it?
I would take this statement by Shehbaz Sharif with pinches of salt, because these kind of statements have come before also, but later it was proved that they were not very trustworthy. What we have to understand is that today Pakistan is in a grave crisis, economic crisis. We have very graphically described as to what kind of problem that they have, and they require funds from International Monetary Fund and world organizations. For that, they have to show that they are good people. They want peace with India, because IMF has been telling them again and again that if you want to put your economy on the correct path, then you have to reduce your expenditure on the army. Today, nearly the 40-50% of the budget of the Pakistanis is spent on the army, and this army is basically used against India. So IMF has been saying since a long time that you require complete overhaul of your budget, and you should stop spending money on army, etc., so that your money is available to you for good causes. That is one issue. Secondly, the security situation also in Pakistan is in very serious level right now. There are every day there are reports that from Afghanistan there are attacks by Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan. Afghanistan Taliban does not recognize the Durand line. The level of violence in Pakistan today is at a very, very high. The Balochistan is restive. There people are there. The Balochis are attacking the China-Pakistan economic corridor, etc. So when Taliban came to power, Pakistan thought that Taliban would provide them strategic depth, but it has happened the other way around, and it is Afghanistan which has got a strategic depth in Pakistan. So Pakistan is in serious trouble as far as the security is concerned. And as late as today, the corps commander of Quetta, the Pakistani corps that controls Balochistan, was in Gwadar trying to tell people, and he was coming very heavily on protesters who are protesting against various issues related to China-Pakistan economic corridor. So internal situation is very, very serious. There is no doubt on that. And I think what is more important is, does Nawaz Sharif is a political prime minister. He doesn't have control over the army. And it is the Pakistani army and the Pakistan's intelligence agency ISI which control all these terror activities. So Nawaz Sharif saying is not sufficient. The Pakistani army has to say so. The ISI has to say so. And what is more important is the demonstrator performance of Pakistan on ground should show that what they are doing, what they are saying. For example, the infiltration on the LOC has to come down to zero. Secondly, terror activities which are taking place, the terrorists targeting soft targets like the Hindus, the Kashmiri Pandits, and the policemen on off duty, etc.
Right.
That must stop. And not only that, there are today, Pakistan is a sanctuary of various terrorist camps. Today, Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hizbul Mujahid, all those terrorist groups which act against India have camps which are very in public domain. You know, everybody and everybody.
It's actions, sir. It's actions, sir.
Yes.
As you very correctly pointed out, it's actions, sir, not just mere words that India will accept, although it does appear to be an overture for peace. Many thanks, Brigadier Hemant Mahajan, and also Colonel Rohit Dev for joining us there and putting that statement of Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif into perspective. We were also joined by my colleague Gursimran, who was telling us about the entire situation there, not just in Gilgit-Baltistan, but across Pakistan. Shehbaz Sharif now saying that we have learnt our lessons, we would like peace. It's time now for a short break. On the other side, it's a massive win for the Modi government. UK Home Secretary orders fugitive Sanjay Bhandari's extradition.
When timeless European design meets cutting-edge technology, it's QO. QO, European bath lounges.
No one has questioned Vijay Mallya like Republic.
Mr. Mallya, why are the questions bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? ED and the CBI charge sheet is very clear. Why is it that the defense witness says that these wide approach the IDBI question? Why is there this trying to evasion of the questions that have been put by the CBI and the ED, sir?
No one has exposed Mehul Choksi like Republic. We don't preach journalism. We practice it. Republic is the news.
The biggest news.
So in your view, what was the role of the media at a time when national security can be jeopardized? So do you think there was a section of the narrative, people, media, whatever, wittingly or unwittingly, for example, vis-a-vis Pakistan normalizing terrorism?
I think the real debate with Pakistan is not should you talk to Pakistan or not talk to Pakistan. It is what should you talk to Pakistan about. And there has been clarity in the last 5 years that unless we address the issue of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, talking about anything else doesn't make sense.
The biggest newsmakers.
How's the faster rollout of 5G made possible? Were you working on deadlines?
We have a leadership which believes in performance, which believes in delivery, which believes in making sure that whatever people's aspirations are, those aspirations are met with full vigor, full force, full commitment.
The biggest news.
The Chinese economy is not as attractive as it used to be. The American economy is hinged on an overextension. It is fragile, it is overstretched. But if India is to emerge as an alternative, I hate to sound cruel about it, America has to fall. Can America course correct?
Whatever happens to America, the worst affected country will be China.
So they'll fall together.
Serious problems, because the kind of problems that China will face if the export-driven economy receives a setback, I don't think the Chinese system will be able to manage.
You're watching Live and Breaking. Now going across to Tamil Nadu's Madurai, where Jallikattu celebrations are underway in full swing. Over 800 bulls, 300 participants set to take part in the sport, which is as much loved and famed as it is controversial.
The biggest news.
So in your view, what was the role of the media at a time when national security can be jeopardized? So do you think there was a section of the narrative, people, media, whatever, wittingly or unwittingly, for example, vis-a-vis Pakistan normalizing terrorism?
I think the real debate with Pakistan is not should you talk to Pakistan or not talk to Pakistan. It is what should you talk to Pakistan about. And there has been clarity in the last 5 years that unless we address the issue of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, talking about anything else doesn't make sense.
The biggest newsmakers.
How's the faster rollout of 5G made possible? Were you working on deadlines?
We have a leadership which believes in performance, which believes in delivery, which believes in making sure that whatever people's aspirations are, those aspirations are met with full vigor, full force, full commitment.
The biggest news.
The Chinese economy is not as attractive as it used to be. The American economy is hinged on an overextension. It is fragile, it is overstretched. But if India is to emerge as an alternative, I hate to sound cruel about it, America has to fall. Can America course correct?
Whatever happens to America, the worst affected country will be China.
So they'll fall together.
Serious problems, because the kind of problems that China will face if the export-driven economy receives a setback, I don't think the Chinese system will be able to manage.
The biggest newsmakers.
Your government says bring in the CA, change the legislation. You are saying that Hindus from Bangladesh should come, but they are also foreigners. This changes the full premise of the same students' agitation with which you have been associated yourself.
Hindu doesn't have any address except India. As an Indian, no one can deny the rights of persecuted Hindu to come back to their own motherland. Can Hindu go to Arab? Can Hindu go to Pakistan? Can Hindu go to certain other country? Hindus has to come here.
Threat to the union.
The biggest news.
The Chinese economy is not as attractive as it used to be. The American economy is hinged on an overextension. It is fragile, it is overstretched. But if India is to emerge as an alternative, I hate to sound cruel about it, America has to fall. Can America course correct?
Whatever happens to America, the worst affected country will be China.
So they'll fall together.
Serious problems, because the kind of problems that China will face if the export-driven economy receives a setback, I don't think the Chinese system will be able to manage.
The biggest newsmakers.
Your government says bring in the CA, change the legislation. You are saying that Hindus from Bangladesh should come, but they are also foreigners. This changes the full premise of the same students' agitation with which you have been associated yourself.
Hindu doesn't have any address except India. As an Indian, no one can deny the rights of persecuted Hindu to come back to their own motherland. Can Hindu go to Arab? Can Hindu go to Pakistan? Can Hindu go to certain other country? Hindus has to come here.
Top headlines at 11 a.m. Massive win for Modi government. UK Home Secretary orders Fugitive Bhandari's extradition. After grand show on day 1, Prime Minister Modi attends day 2 of BJP's National Executive Meet. AAP versus LG showdown, lock horns again, this time over teachers' Finland trip. Pakistan Prime Minister makes big admission, says learnt our lesson after 3 wars with India. From Waziristan to Gilgit-Baltistan, anger on the streets as crisis hits Pakistan. And UN lists Pakistan's Abdul Rahman Makki terrorist as a global terrorist under sanctions committee. Thanks for staying tuned to Republic. We start with Newsbreak coming in, this one in relation to the Delhi terror plot, where sources have now informed that the Delhi police is on the lookout for 4 other suspects. We're given to understand that the Delhi police sources have informed that 4 more suspects are on the run. The suspects, we're given to understand, received weapons from Pakistan through drop-dead method and were in touch with handlers in Pakistan by an app. They even received weapons at unidentified location in Uttarakhand, which is also being looked into by the police. So that's the update coming in on the Delhi terror plot, where sources have now informed that 4 suspects are on the run and that they received weapons from Pakistan. In fact, the suspects here received weapons at an unidentified location in Uttarakhand, which is being looked into by the Delhi police. All right, Piyush Ori getting us that news break on the Delhi terror plot. Piyush, take us to what we know so far. Beginning with the latest update, of course, coming in that 4 suspects are on the run in this case.
So yes, good morning, Samiksha, and good morning to all our viewers who are viewing us at the moment. And yes, this is again another revelation that has been coming from the investigations that has been going on from the Delhi Police Special Cell side, in which we have now come to know that there were also certain associates that were helping these 2 terror suspects that were arrested recently by the Delhi Police Special Cell. Now, who are these 4 associates? Are these the people who were managed by the Khalistani outfits? Were these the people who were managed by the Pakistani ISI? All this is now under the matter of investigation. But now what was being felt, what was being always there in the know-how, that these 2 terror suspects were being helped by associates has now come out in open, and the hunt for 4 people who assisted these 2 terror suspects, namely Jagjit Singh Jassa and Naushad Ali, for carrying out the sinister motive of carrying out targeted killings, is now being looked at by the Delhi Police Special Cell. So yes, when will these 4 people be arrested? It will only be the time who will be the that will tell that what is going to be the investigation. Back to you in the studio.
Piyush, stay with us. Talking about the finer details in this case. Talk to us about how these terror suspects were trying to, the Hindu leaders who were on target of these suspects. You also given to understand that they were, in fact, on the hit list of these terrorists were Shiv Sena and Bajrang Dal activists. If you can take us through those details.
So you correctly mentioned, Samisha, that the main target of these 2 terror suspects that were arrested by the Delhi Police Special Cell were the right-wing leaders. And as what we have been told by sources is that the right-wing leaders belonged to Bajrang Dal and Shiv Sena. Now, what actually was their main motive? Why were they trying to target these right-wing leaders? Which areas were they trying to recce? And which groups were in touch with them? All this is under the matter of investigation. Yesterday, we did tell our viewers that these 2 terror suspects, namely Naushad and Jagjit Singh, had already received a token sum of carrying out their plans between the January 27 and 31 deadline. They were promised a sum of ₹2 crore after they execute the plan. So yes, what we do know is that there was a sinister plan in play, but it was foiled. Having said that, the challenge is still not over, as we have now come to know that there are some more people who are involved in this sinister motive, and the hunt for the associates of all these terrorist groups being investigated by the Delhi police, also other state authorities. Back to the studio.
All right, Piyush, thank you for the moment. So, Piyush, they're getting us the details in the Delhi terror plot case. Latest, of course, coming in that 4 suspects who are on the run as we speak, and the police is trying to ascertain as to from where they received the weapons. Sources, of course, telling Republic that these suspects, these terrorists got weapons from Pakistan, and that these weapons were received in an unidentified location in Uttarakhand. For now, to another news. Coming in, a big win for India, in fact, when it comes to the extradition case of fugitive Sanjay Bhandari, as we given to understand that the ED had cited Republic London reports on Sanjay Bhandari. ED had even sought location details. In fact, ED had cited Republic London reports on Sanjay Bhandari. The UK Home Secretary has ordered extradition of fugitive Sanjay Bhandari, and we given to understand that Sanjay Bhandari has 14 days time to appeal. So that's the latest coming in, a 14 days timeline that has been given to Sanjay Bhandari, and this is in relation to extradition of fugitive Sanjay Bhandari. So, just to take our viewers through the latest what we know so far, the UK Home Secretary has ordered extradition of fugitive Sanjay Bhandari. A 14 days time to appeal that has been given to Sanjay Bhandari. Of course, we are also given to understand that the ED has, in this case, cited Republic London reports on Sanjay Bhandari, and ED had also sought an NBW against Sanjay Bhandari. So, a deadline that looms on head of Sanjay Bhandari has been given 14 days time to appeal. The UK Home Secretary having ordered extradition of fugitive Sanjay Bhandari in this case. So it's UK Home Secretary Suella Braverman who's now ordered the extradition to defence middleman Sanjay Bhandari to India. He's been given 14 days time from January the 12th till the 26th to seek permission to appeal the decision of the judge and of the Home Secretary in the High Court. Alright, also remember earlier we'd confronted fugitive Sanjay Bhandari, the fugitive who's now been given a 14 days deadline by the Home Secretary. Let's listen into that confrontation sequence that we had of Sanjay Bhandari.
I will stop this. You sir, I am just having a word with him. If you just have a conversation with him, and I've done that. I will have a word with you again. I will stop. Of course, you will. I will put in a word with boss.
If debate is more important, let him do the debate. If he doesn't want to talk to me, I'll say you come here. No, why are you sending him? You come here and talk to me. I'm going to invite him to come here and talk to me. Why is he let you be part with him? I'm going to say, why have you not come? You come. Have a holiday in London and talk to me. But then promise me that whatever I say...
Mr. Bhandari, I can tell you, my editor is a very fair editor.
भाषण नहीं दे रहा, रियल बात बता रहा हूँ मैं. आपने भी देखा होगा.
मेरे editor he's a fair editor. He will... There's no doubt about it.
वो यार अब fair है, वो नहीं है, वो मैं नहीं कह सकता. I don't want to comment because I don't know him personally. What I hear about him, I'm telling you.
I will stop this. You sir, I am just having a word with him. If you just have a conversation with him, and I've done that. I will have a word with you again. I will stop. Of course, you will. I will put in a word with boss.
If debate is more important, let him do the debate. If he doesn't want to talk to me, I'll say you come here. No, why are you sending him? You come here and talk to me. I'm going to invite him to come here and talk to me. Why is he let you be part with him? I'm going to say, why have you not come? You come. Have a holiday in London and talk to me. But then promise me that whatever I say...
Mr. Bhandari, I can tell you, my editor is a very fair editor.
भाषण नहीं दे रहा, रियल बात बता रहा हूँ मैं. आपने भी देखा होगा.
All right, our senior editor Shravan Sen joining us for more on that. Shravan, if you can take us through the details, how close are we in terms of getting Sanjay Bhandari extradited to India?
Well, in fact, I would just say that this is the first step. It is undoubtedly a long-drawn battle, a battle that we had witnessed in the case of Nirav Modi as well as Vijay Mallya. In fact, it is an arduous battle for the central agencies, given the fact that through the Crown Prosecution Service in London, they will have to convince the court, first of all, with regards to the fact that this is a fit case of extradition. They will have to convince the court that there are charges of money laundering, which, if you see it from the prism of the laws in United Kingdom, then it does suffice. And that is the reason why the focus essentially is going to be on gathering as much as evidence as possible and presenting it before the court. In fact, the Enforcement Directorate has already filed a charge sheet. They've moved a non-bailable warrant. All these procedures have already been completed, and that is the reason why we're looking at the first step, the first victory that the central agencies have witnessed in this particular case. Even before the extradition order was actually passed, remember, Republic TV years back had actually tracked down Sanjay Bhandari, and that report too has now been cited. The fact that he had run away from the country after the raids that were carried out by the Income Tax Department, and the Income Tax Department had basically come across incriminating evidence against Sanjay. There were sensitive defense papers that were recovered from his residence, and the allegation essentially being that he did not really disclose the assets that he owns, not just in India, but also in other countries. He also faces money laundering charges, the fact that he has diverted the proceeds of crime through various companies, And he also faces another allegation that he was holding a Benami property in London. Once again, that the enforcement directorate basically suspects this particular property has some political links, and that is the reason why Robert Vadra was actually called in for questioning by the enforcement directorate not once but on multiple occasions.
Shravan, stay with us. For our viewers also who are just tuning in, if you can once again take us through the details that are known so far, and also the Bhandari Vadra mail trail which has been under the scanner of the agencies in this case.
Well, as far as the mail trail is concerned, that is the clinching evidence that the enforcement directorate essentially indicates as far as the role of Robert Vadra is concerned. Robert Vadra so far has remained nonchalant about all the charges that have been leveled against him. In fact, he has essentially rubbished all of this by saying that there is no link whatsoever with Sanjay Bhandari. But if you take a look at the emails that have also been accessed by Republic TV, it talks about one Central London property. That Central London property, the Enforcement Directorate suspects is the Benami property linked to Robert Vadra. The reason essentially being is that there is an email trail which essentially indicates that for the upkeep of this property in Central London, they were basically, that there was money that was being provided to Sanjay Bhandari and to others also. And that is the reason why there was a link that was basically being drawn as far as Sanjay Bhandari and Robert Vadra is concerned. The allegation also being that Sanjay Bhandari had got a part of the cut money in various deals that were basically signed during the UPA era.
All right, Shravan, thank you for taking us through those details. We have senior advocate Swapnil Kothari also joining us. Sir, good morning. If I can get your first thoughts on the UK Home Secretary ordering extradition of Sanjay Bhandari, what do you think, in your view, are the legal options that Sanjay Bhandari would have at this point?
Appeal to the High Court by 26th of this month, and I don't see any success to making him any headway there. I think most of his legal channels have been exhausted, and now with Suella Braverman denying his asylum request, I believe, I think doors are pretty much shut in the United Kingdom for him. It's only a matter of time. And I mean almost a year. By matter of time, I don't mean a couple of days, because all these processes take a long period of time. And diplomatically, India has succeeded now, because this is what I've always been emphasizing with Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi, that legally we've always had a fantastic case, the Enforcement Directorate. And I'm glad that the Enforcement Directorate had quoted the Republic TV reports as far as this particular case was concerned. Your channel is always at the forefront of catching all these fugitive offenders, and besides many other things. And this is great news for people who love Republic TV, like me. So the thing is that when this goes forward now before the High Court is not going to be very impressed, because asylum request has been denied. Lower courts have also denied you any extradition solace. You have to be extradited. The United Kingdom cannot be perceived as some sort of a haven for offenders from India. Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, Bhandari, and 2-3 others also whose names I do not recall. Obviously, if the United Kingdom were to grant them asylum or, work the diplomacy in their favor, in the favor of these fugitives, it would be perceived as some sort of a Commonwealth country from whom we have borrowed the law, as denying completely the rule of law. Because the rule of law, rather should I make it more simple, the extradition treaty between the United Kingdom and India clearly mandates that where offences are punishable in both the countries, each country will respect each other's extradition requests. Obviously, this is a great offence committed by Sanjay Bhandari. Obviously, the defences that have been levelled are all, the lawyers which we level that, we were just transferring money for the maintenance and upkeep and all of that, as Shravan pointed out. But these are absolutely hollow defences. Everybody knows what was involved and who and to what extent the money was involved and why it was so. So obviously, these are offences both here and in the United Kingdom. That's why the treaty applies. And once the treaty applies, the extradition request has to be granted by one nation state to the other nation state. And most importantly, primarily, I have always emphasized that diplomatically, India is much stronger now, more so with a Prime Minister of an Indian origin now in the United Kingdom. So we have to use that clout to our advantage and try to ensure that not only Mr. Bhandari, but Mr. Mallya, Mr. Nirav Modi all make, all book their tickets homeward and face the wrath of the law here and undergo the trials that they need to go to. They've committed grave offences. They've looted this country. From whatever the Enforcement Directorate has made out from the cases, one can easily discern that. I believe that the Enforcement Directorate exactly knows what it's doing. That's the reason why it succeeded in a foreign court as well. So I'm sure when they come here, they'll succeed here in Indian courts as well. So this is great news, and I hope more people are to follow, apart from Mr. Sanjay Bhandari.
All right, thanks for sharing those details with us. So, Advocate Swapnil Kothari saying that Sanjay Bhandari will not be able to present a strong case here and that he does not have a lot of legal options. We have BJP's Manjinder Singh Sirsa also joining us. Sir, your first reaction to Sanjay Bhandari, the UK Home Secretary having ordered the extradition of the fugitive. How crucial would it be when it comes to his trial in the country? Because the Bhandari-Vadra mail trail is something that cannot be denied, which would be a crucial piece of evidence to present a strong case against Bhandari.
It's a big win for our nation, and especially because the ED has issued a non-bail warrant, and in spite of all the efforts which was trying to do, but we were able to present a strong case, and now he'll be extradited soon. So it's a big win for this nation, and it gives a strong message to the other people also कि आप देश का पैसा लेकर भगौड़े नहीं हो सकते, देश का आर्थिक नुकसान पहुंचाकर भाग नहीं सकते, देश आपको वापस लेके आएगा और आपको सजा दिलाएगा और आपको कानून के दायरे में रह के सब वो चीजें भुगतनी होगी जो आपने पाप किए, उनकी सजा आपको भुगतनी होगी. So it gives a very strong message to the other people also.
Well, absolutely. So remains to be seen the kind of legal options that Sanjay Bhandari would be looking into in this case. But just to tell our viewers the latest what we know so far, a win for the country as the UK Home Secretary has now ordered extradition of fugitive Sanjay Bhandari. He's been given 14 days time to appeal. Remember, the ED had cited a Republic London report on Sanjay Bhandari. In fact, the ED had even sought NBW against Sanjay Bhandari in this case. Also, another crucial clincher of an evidence that the ED has in this case is the Vadra Sanjay Bhandari mail trail, which would be a solid evidence when it comes to presenting a case against Sanjay Bhandari. And it's AAP versus the LG showdown in the national capital once again. We'll get you all the latest on that on the other side of this very short break. And Pakistan Prime Minister makes big admission, says learnt our lesson after 3 wars with India.
When timeless European design meets cutting-edge technology, it's QO. QO, European bath lounges.
Threat to the Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, the accused, has been identified as J.S. Pujari, one of the inmates of Hindalga jail in Belagavi, and a team of the Nagpur police along with the ATS also visited the Hindalga jail, and it is now being understood that he has been grilled for several hours. The police have found out that one set of the phone numbers belong to businessmen and VVIPs whom J.S. Pujari was going on and targeting and making threat calls from inside the jail.
Maharashtra's district of Gadchiroli, another action between the Maoists and the security forces, effort of CRPF and Maharashtra police, number of Naxals in this area is slowly reducing. Retaliatory action that was taken by the Maharashtra police, there was firing of gunshots by the Maoists also. We do not know about the casualties as such. The operation is going.
No one has questioned Vijay Mallya like Republic.
Mr. Mallya, why the question is bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? ED and the CBI charge sheet is very clear. Why is it that the defense witness says that these wide approach the IDBI question? Why is there this trying to evasion of the questions that have been put by the CBI and the ED, sir?
No one has exposed Mehul Choksi like Republic. We don't preach journalism. We practice it. Republic is the news.
The biggest news.
So in your view, what was the role of the media at a time when national security can be jeopardized? So do you think there was a section of the narrative, people, media, whatever, wittingly or unwittingly, for example, vis-a-vis Pakistan normalizing terrorism?
I think the real debate with Pakistan is not should you talk to Pakistan or not talk to Pakistan. It is what should you talk to Pakistan about. And there has been clarity in the last 5 years that unless we address the issue of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, talking about anything else doesn't make sense.
The biggest newsmakers.
How's the faster rollout of 5G made possible? Were you working on deadlines?
We have a leadership which believes in performance, which believes in delivery, which believes in making sure that whatever people's aspirations are, those aspirations are met with full vigor, full force, full commitment.
The biggest news.
The Chinese economy is not as attractive as it used to be. The American economy is hinged on an overextension. It is fragile, it is overstretched. But if India is to emerge as an alternative, I hate to sound cruel about it, America has to fall. Can America course correct?
Whatever happens to America, the worst affected country will be China.
So they'll fall together.
Serious problems, because the kind of problems that China will face if the export-driven economy receives a setback, I don't think the Chinese system will be able to manage.
The biggest newsmakers.
Your government says bring in the CA, change the legislation. You are saying that Hindus from Bangladesh should come, but they are also foreigners. This changes the full premise of the same students' agitation with which you have been associated yourself.
Hindu doesn't have any address except India. As an Indian, no one can deny the rights of persecuted.
A group of 4 miscreants went on to vandalize a bakery and attack the owner of the shop with iron rods, and now he has been admitted in a hospital. This particular incident took place on the 16th of Jan at 10 in the morning in JP Nagar, 6th phase near Puttenhalli. A case of assault has already been registered at the Puttenhalli police station, and the entire assault has been caught on CCTV camera. According to the complainant, it is now being stated that 4 people barged into the bakery and they started taking cigarettes from the shelves. And when the shopkeeper, the owner of the shop, questioned them, they immediately started assaulting him, and then they dragged him out of the shop and they started beating him up with iron rods. He has gone on to sustain injuries to his chest, stomach, as well as his neck and head as well. He was admitted to a hospital, and also a medico-legal case has been registered in this regard. And the Puttenhalli police have gone through the CCTV footage that has been obtained and now have launched a manhunt to go on and nab the criminals. With video journalist Sadanand, Prajwal Prasad reporting for Republic, Bengaluru.
Slipping into a very short break. On the other side, we'll get you the latest on day 2 of BJP's National Executive Meet, which is underway.
When timeless European design meets cutting-edge technology, it's QO. QO, European Bath Lounges.
Maharashtra's district of Gadchiroli. Another action between the Maoists and the security forces. Effort of CRPF and Maharashtra police. Number of Naxals in this area is slowly reducing. Retaliatory action that was taken by the Maharashtra police. There was firing of gunshots by the Maoists also. We do not know about the casualties as such. The operation is going.
No one has questioned Vijay Mallya like Republic.
Mr. Mallya, why the question is bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? ED and the CBI charge sheet is very clear. Why is it that the defense witness says that these White approached the IDBI question? Why is there this trying to evasion of the questions that have been put by the CBI and the ED, sir?
No one has exposed Mehul Choksi like Republic. We don't preach journalism. We practice it. Republic is the news.
The biggest news.
So in your view, what was the role of the media at a time when national security can be jeopardized? So do you think there was a section of the narrative, people, media, whatever, wittingly or unwittingly, for example, vis-a-vis Pakistan normalizing terrorism?
I think the real debate with Pakistan is not should you talk to Pakistan or not talk to Pakistan. It is what should you talk to Pakistan about. And there has been clarity in the last 5 years that unless we address the issue of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, talking about anything else doesn't make sense.
The biggest newsmakers.
How's the faster rollout of 5G made possible? Were you working on deadlines?
We have a leadership which believes in performance, which believes in delivery, which believes in making sure that whatever people's aspirations are, those aspirations are met with full vigor, full force, full commitment.
The biggest news.
The Chinese economy is not as attractive as it used to be. The American economy is hinged on an overextension. It is fragile, it is overstretched. But if India is to emerge as an alternative, I hate to sound cruel about it, America has to fall. Can America course correct?
Whatever happens to America, the worst affected country will be China.
So they'll fall together.
Serious problems, because the kind of problems that China will face if the export-driven economy receives a setback, I don't think the Chinese system will be able to manage.
The biggest newsmakers.
Your government says bring in the CA, change the legislation. You are saying that Hindus.
Good morning and thank you very much for joining us on Live and Breaking on Republic TV. I'm Nupur Talwar Suri. We begin with the headlines. It is a massive win for the Modi government. The UK Home Secretary orders Fugitive Bhandari's extradition. After a grand roadshow on day one, Prime Minister attends day two of the BJP's National Executive meeting. The Aam Aadmi Party versus the LG showdown worsens in New Delhi, this time over the teachers' Finland trip.
My message to the Indian leadership and Prime Minister Modi is that let's sit down on the table and have serious and sincere talks.
Pakistan's Prime Minister makes a big admission, says learnt our lessons from 3 wars with India. From Waziristan to Gilgit-Baltistan, anger on the streets as crisis hits Pakistan. And the UN lists Pakistan's Abdul Rahman Makki as a global terrorist under the Sanctions Committee. Now, days after the pillar collapse that claimed the life of 2 people in Bengaluru, Republic TV has accessed visuals of yet another electric pole that is leaning since the last few days, and authorities have failed to take action despite complaints by motorists and pedestrians. Let's in fact cut across to pictures that we are getting of this and show you what it looks like. We are given to understand that there have been several complaints that have been made by motorists and pedestrians in the area. However, nothing has been done so far. Just look at the manner in which it is actually leaning, and obviously there are concerns that are being raised over this pillar that you can see on the right hand side of your screen. It's an electric pole with 2 street lights on it. It is leaning quite towards the road, and obviously this is a danger to people who are using that particular roadway. We are told that several complaints have been made. However, nothing has been done by civic authorities. Let's go across to Prajwal, who's reporting on this from Bengaluru. Prajwal, we are learning that several complaints have been made. Despite that, authorities, of course, continue to turn a blind eye to this. Tell us more about that.
Now, Nupur, what we get to understand is right now I'm standing here on the median where this particular pole has been tilted and it is yet to be removed by the civic authorities because the BESCOM installed these street lamps and the BBMP is responsible for maintaining it. And the condition of this road, which is the Kothnur-Bangalore road, we get to understand has been the same for the past 9 months now. And since the past 9 months, there has been no sort of action taken despite repeated complaints, mainly from the motorists over here, because this particular electric pole has continued to tilt now, and it is tilting at a very precarious position where the electric pole might fall on either side of the road, and there might even be loose electric cables which are hanging by, and these are live electric wires which could go on and risk the lives of the motorists who are traveling on this particular road. So one of the major questions is that the BESCOM has already been complained, that the complaint has been given to BESCOM, complaint has been also given to the BBMP, but no sort of action was taken. So once we went on to highlight this particular issue now, the street lamps have been removed, but the pole is yet to be removed over here. And so when will that be done too? Because if the pole is removed, there is no supporting structure to the live electric wires which are running right in the middle of the road. And there was also traffic jam which was reported here for a few minutes, but later all the motorists was allowed to pass as well. But this is equally going on and playing with the lives of the motorists who are traveling on this particular road as well. And now citizens are going on and questioning the authorities, even on the social media, asking them as to why has action not been taken for the past few months as well. And the concerned, the concerned authorities who had to act have still not reached the spot. They removed the street lamps, but after that, the assistant executive engineer, when we called him up and tried to ask him what is exactly the reason, he said that he was not even aware of such a problem as well. So this is something which the authorities need to understand and act on it immediately and not act after the media highlights it, Nupur.
Oh yes, absolutely. Obviously, questions are being raised as to, how many more lives will be lost before civic authorities in Bengaluru actually take things like this seriously. As Prajwal is pointing out, of course, there have been several instances in the past of a similar nature. Prajwal, just in the recent past, we have seen, potholes claiming lives. We've seen a metro pillar fall down, unfortunately, on a young mother and a child, claiming their life. There is obviously a great deal of anger among the people of Bengaluru over this.
Absolutely, there is a lot of anger as well, because the MD as well as the executive director of the BMRCL have gone scot-free. Their names have not been mentioned in the FIR report, which was given by the Govindpura police station, and only 9 people were named. And the notice has already been issued to the director of the Nagarjuna Construction Company. But so far, none of the accused in this particular case have deposed in front of the police station, which shows the lackadaisical attitude they have towards the lives of Bengalurians and the civic apathy which is going on to claim lives. And apart from that, even if you look at this particular issue now, the residents over here or the commercial establishments over here, when we spoke to the owners of the record, they stated that we cannot come in front of the camera because then the electricity supply to a commercial establishment will be cut off and nobody will be there at that point of time. So at one point, they're stating that the authorities themselves are going on to threaten them. And secondly, we are seeing the apathy that is being displayed, because even as I was speaking, there was this particular electric pole which was about to fall now, even as we are speaking. So this is something which is, which is absolutely dangerous now, and they will have to take up these works with great caution as well, because the motorists are passing by, but they are trying to take out this pole now. This is creating a lot of problem for the motorists who are traveling by here, Nupur.
All right, Prajwal, of course, is bringing us the latest on the this civic apathy that's being reported once again from Bengaluru. Thank you for the moment, Prajwal, for joining us. So civic authorities, of course, yet to respond to requests by citizens. And here's a look at what else is making news. This morning, Prime Minister Modi arrived along with the BJP's National President JP Nadda at the second day of the BJP's National Executive Meeting in Delhi. Earlier, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh had also arrived for the meeting along with top BJP leaders. The agenda of the meeting is the upcoming 2024 elections. Another big win for Modi's government, as the UK Home Secretary has ordered the extradition of fugitive Sanjay Bhandari. He has 14 days' time to appeal. The Enforcement Directorate has cited Republic London reports on Sanjay Bhandari and has sought a non-bailable warrant against Sanjay Bhandari. Terror group SFJ threatens to disrupt Republic Day parade, says the Khalistan flag will be unfurled. Threatens people of Delhi to not come out for the parade, otherwise they will be crushed. Sources claim that the SFJ is to spend $5 lakh to disrupt the Republic Day celebrations in the national capital. The BJP MLA Basan Gaura Patil Yatnal has got a notice from his party's High Command after he insulted Industries Minister Nirani and also abused and cursed the Chief Minister Baswaraj Bommai. Yatnal has been given 15 days of time to explain his comments. Government land in Kalburgi has allegedly been named Tipu Circle and a picture of Tipu Sultan has been installed in the area. The land allegedly belongs to the local civic authority. Pro-Hindu organizations have demanded that the picture be removed from the spot. In Jammu and Kashmir, gunshots were heard near the district court in Budgam. Forces rushed to the spot and 2 terrorists have been neutralized. Reports claim that 2 civilians have also been injured. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has admitted that the country has learned its lessons after 3 wars with India and stressed that they want peace. Shehbaz Sharif, in an interview with the Al Arabiya TV channel, also made an appeal to Prime Minister Modi, saying Pakistan wants peace.
My message to the Indian leadership and Prime Minister Modi is that let's sit down on the table and have serious and sincere talks to resolve our burning issues.
Shehbaz Sharif has triggered a host of reactions from the former Jammu and Kashmir Deputy Chief Minister and BJP leader Kavinder Gupta, who has said that India has always backed peace with Pakistan, but Pakistan has always backed terror.
पाकिस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री शहबाज शरीफ ने एक इंटरव्यू में ये बात कही है कि भारत के साथ जो हमने 3 युद्ध किए हैं उसका नतीजा कुछ नहीं निकला। हम भारत तो पहले से ही ये कहता आया है कि शांति बहाली के लिए काम करना चाहिए, लेकिन पाकिस्तान में जितने हुक्मरान रहे उनके कानों पर जूं तक नहीं रहती थी। आतंकवाद को बढ़ावा देना, भारत के खिलाफ भड़काना, कश्मीर को समस्या बना देना, ये जानते हुए कि यहाँ कुछ नहीं होने वाला है। पाकिस्तान में जो इंटरनल आज हालात हैं उससे सबक सीखने की बारी है।
The National Conference has welcomed Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's statement on peace with India and urged the Indian government to start talks with Pakistan. Sheikh Bashir, the provincial secretary, said that appeals must be made.
नॉर्मलाइज करना है तो ये बातों से नहीं होगा, उसके लिए प्रैक्टिकल अप्रोच करनी होगी। और ये खुशाइंद बात है कि अगर उनको ये समझ आ गई है कि जंग से कोई मसला हल नहीं होता है, और मैं अपील करूंगा कि इस चीज़ को नोटिस किया जाए और इसको बातचीत शुरू की जाए।
Now, in the Delhi terror plot, sources have told that the Delhi police is on the lookout for 4 other suspects. They received weapons from Pakistan through drop-dead method and were in contact with handlers in Pakistan on Signal app. Now, suspects got weapons at unidentified locations in Uttarakhand, which is being verified.
Deep State Pakistan, which once planned to give India 1,000 cuts, is now in shambles. The people are on the roads. In Gilgit-Baltistan, the people are demanding not only food but also the basic rights. While in South Waziristan, the people are on the roads demanding that there should be law and order in Pakistan. They are saying that Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan has totally taken over the regime and they are carrying out the terror attacks on security forces as well as the civil civilians, while it is same the situation in the Gilgit-Baltistan, where the people are up in arms against the Pakistani government for not giving them their rights, and also the shortage of the food. The policy of the Pakistan has totally collapsed, and the nation that is heading towards what has happened in Sri Lanka, finding it really very hard to manage the internal situation. As province after province, the protests are erupting, and with each passing day, the situation is deteriorating. With Gaurav Sahani, Gursimran Singh for Republic Media Network.
You are with Republic TV. On the other side, Pakistan's Prime Minister makes a big admission, says we've learnt our lessons after the 3 wars with India. And a big win for the government. The UK Home Secretary orders fugitive Sanjay Bhandari's extradition.
No one has questioned Vijay Mallya like Republic.
Mr. Mallya, why the questions bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? ED and the CBI charge sheet is very clear. Why is it that the defense witness says that these wide approach the IDBI question? Why is there this trying to evasion of the questions that have been put by the CBI and the ED, sir?
No one has exposed Mehul Choksi like Republic. We don't preach journalism. We practice it. Republic is the news. No one has questioned Vijay Mallya like Republic.
Mr. Mallya, why the questions bothering you when I'm not getting a single answer? ED and the CBI charge sheet is very clear. Why is it that the defense witness says that these wide approach the IDBI question? Why is there this trying to evasion of the questions that have been put by the CBI and the ED, sir?
No one has exposed Mehul Choksi like Republic. We don't preach journalism. We practice it. Republic is the news.
The biggest news.
So in your view, what was the role of the media at a time when national security can be jeopardized? So do you think there was a section of the narrative, people, media, whatever, wittingly or unwittingly, for example, vis-a-vis Pakistan normalizing terrorism?
I think the real debate with Pakistan is not should you talk to Pakistan or not talk to Pakistan. It is what should you talk to Pakistan about. And there has been clarity in the last 5 years that unless we address the issue of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, talking about anything else doesn't make sense.
The biggest newsmakers.
How's the faster rollout of 5G made possible? Were you working on deadlines?
We have a leadership which believes in performance, which believes in delivery, which believes in making sure that whatever people's aspirations are, those aspirations are met with full vigor, full force, full commitment.
The biggest news.
The Chinese economy is not as attractive as it used to be. The American economy is hinged on an overextension. It is fragile, it is overstretched. But if India is to emerge as an alternative, I hate to sound cruel about it, America has to fall. Can America course correct?
Whatever happens to America, the worst affected country will be China.
So they'll fall together.
Serious problems, because the kind of problems that China will face if the export-driven economy receives a setback, I don't think the Chinese system will be able to manage.
The biggest newsmakers.
Your government says bring in the CA, change the legislation. You are saying that Hindus from Bangladesh should come, but they are also foreigners. This changes the full premise of the same students' agitation with which you have been associated yourself.
Hindu doesn't have any address except India. As an Indian, no one can deny the rights of persecuted Hindu to come back to their own motherland. Can Hindu go to Arab? Can Hindu go to Pakistan? Can Hindu go to certain other country? Hindus has to come here.
Threat to the Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, the accused, has been identified as J.S. Pujari, one of the inmates of Hindalga.
पॉलिसी के कारण न केवल भारत सशक्त हुई है, आत्मनिर्भर हुई है, उसके अंदर उसके कारण देश में जो एक चेतना आई है, आज सामाजिक उपलब्धियों की नई पैमाना हो रहा है। अयोध्या में भव्य राम मंदिर निर्माण, जो लोग कभी हमको पूछते थे अयोध्या में राम मंदिर बनाएंगे लेकिन तिथि नहीं बनाएंगे, आज प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी को कार्यकारिणी आभार प्रकट किया, मंदिर की तिथि भी ही घोषित कर दिया गया है और जल्द ही भव्य मंदिर देश को समर्पित हो जाएगा। काशी विश्वनाथ की कॉरिडोर अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा स्टेटमेंट उस दिशा में है। सोमनाथ की विकास कार्य, हिमालय में केदारनाथ धाम की पुनर्निर्माण, केदारनाथ बद्रीनाथ तीर्थ क्षेत्र की तमाम विकास कार्य की जा रही है। पहली बार 4 धामों की रोड नेटवर्क, करतारपुर साहिब कॉरिडोर की सफलतापूर्वक श्रद्धालुओं के लिए खोला गया है। हेमकुंड साहिब और गिरनार की रोपवे में जोड़ा गया है। उज्जैन में भव्य महाकाल लोक को प्रधानमंत्री जी ने इन दिनों में लोकार्पित किया है। प्रसाद योजना के तहत बाबा बैद्यनाथ धाम देवघर में आधुनिक सुविधाओं का विस्तार किया गया है। मोढेरा के सूर्य मंदिर को हेरिटेज लाइटिंग यानी सोलर लाइट से, सोलर एनर्जी से लाइटिंग की व्यवस्था किया गया है। मां महाकाली शक्तिपीठ और जैन विरासत के लिए प्रसिद्ध गुजरात की पावागढ़ की पुनरुद्धार किया गया है। स्वदेश और प्रसाद योजना के तहत देश की पर्यटन की एक नया डेफिनेशन किया गया है और इस सामाजिक जागृति में प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कई बार उसको बड़े विनम्रता के साथ लोगों को अपील किया है, हमें गुलामी की मानसिकता से बाहर आनी है। दिल्ली की राजपथ को अंग्रेजों ने हमारे ऊपर राज किया था। आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव ने प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उस राजपथ की नाम को बदल के कर्तव्य पथ किया है। नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस जी की भव्य प्रतिमा आज उस राजपथ की शोभा बढ़ा रही है। मित्रों, आज डिजिटल इनिशिएटिव्स के कारण विश्व में जो नया लीडरशिप इमर्ज कर रहा है, भारत धीरे धीरे एक उत्पादनकारी अर्थव्यवस्था की ओर बढ़ रही है। डिजिटल कैपेसिटी के कारण कोविन ऐप उसकी सबसे बड़ा उदाहरण है। दुनिया में ये व्यवस्था कहीं नहीं है। टीका लगाओ और सेकेंड्स के अंदर आपकी मोबाइल फोन पे डिजिटल सर्टिफिकेट आ जाए, जिसको आप प्रिंट आउट करके आपकी देश दुनिया में जाने आने में, देश के अंदर जाने में कोई दिक्कत ना हो। इससे लेके आज देश में भारत डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन में दुनिया की लीडर बना हुआ है। आज अगर 100 रुपया डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन होती है दुनिया में, तो 40 रुपया केवल भारत में ही होती है। दिसंबर महीने में डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन की नई ऊंचाई हम सबको अनुभव दिया है। यह केवल ट्रांजैक्शन नहीं हो रहा है, भारत की लोगों की टेक्नोलॉजी अडेप्टेबिलिटी। सामान्य लोगों, जब प्रधानमंत्री जी ने 7 साल पहले ये कहा था हम डिजिटल इंडिया की इनिशिएटिव लेंगे, तब लोगों ने उनको, हमारी राजनीतिक प्रतिद्वंदियों ने ना समझ के, जैसे उनके अभ्यास रहता है, गाली दे देना, उन्होंने टिक्का किया था, परिहास किया था। वो आज उसका आनंद ले रहे हैं। मित्रों, मैं खुद के अनुभव बताऊं तो 1 जनवरी को मैं खुद ही कहीं ट्रैफिक में फंस के जब गाड़ी से उतर के ऑटो में गया, मेरे चिंता पहले आई, ऑटो में तो बैठ गया, कैसे मैं उसको उसकी भाड़ा दूं। मेरे पीएसओ को पूछा आपके पास भाड़ा है क्या? बोला मेरे पास भी कैश नहीं है। फिर हमने उनको पूछा, हमारी दुविधा को ध्यान में रखते हुए कोई चिंता मत करिए, वो पूछा हमको आपके पास फोन पे पेमेंट करने की व्यवस्था है कि नहीं है। मेरे पास तो नहीं था, मेरे पीएसओ के पास था। हमने 100 रुपया की पेमेंट 1 जनवरी को पे करके मैं सुखद अनुभव लिया। ये भारत की नई डिजिटल कैपेसिटी की सबसे बड़ा स्टेटमेंट है। भारत में कहीं भी जाइए, वो रेडी पटरी वाला से लेके हाई वैल्यू की ट्रांजैक्शन की पेमेंट डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म पे हो रही है। आने वाले दिनों में विश्व की अर्थनीति भारत की इस मॉडल को अडॉप्ट करने वाला है। मित्रों, आज सुखद संयोग है, वैश्विक नेतृत्व भारत ले रहा है। आज एक अलग से प्रस्ताव पारित हो रहा है, लेकिन आज एक ही लाइन में कहूं, आज इस प्रस्ताव ने अर्थनैतिक सामाजिक सशक्तिकरण की इस प्रस्ताव ने G20 की सफल प्रेसिडेंसी के लिए, जिसकी काम अभी शुरू हुआ है, प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व को सराहना किया है, उनको प्रशंसा किया है। मित्रों, मैं अगर एक विषय पे आज की हमारी अर्थनीति और सामाजिक सशक्तिकरण की इस प्रस्ताव में कहूं, भारत एक समय में एक कुंठित अर्थव्यवस्था के रूप में जाना जाता था। आज भारत में कोई नीति बनती थी तो चंद लोगों के लिए नीति बनती थी, उसके लिए मारामारी, उसके लिए व्यग्रता, उसके लिए सारे बाकी चीज होता था। आज प्रधानमंत्री की इस नीतियों के कारण आज एक सैचुरेशन की अर्थव्यवस्था यानी सबके लिए करना होगा। स्कीम चंद लोगों के लिए नहीं है, सभी के लिए। गांव में जितने लोग हैं, जितने गरीब हैं, जितने मध्यवर्गीय, सभी के लिए आज एक पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ सैचुरेशन की ओर हम बढ़ रहे हैं, गवर्नेंस ऑफ सैचुरेशन की ओर बढ़ रहे हैं। तृप्ति की जिम्मेवारी को लेकर आज हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। मैं कार्य समिति जो प्रस्ताव को पारित किया प्रधानमंत्री जी की सफल नीति के कारण, कुछ विषय आपके सामने मैंने उल्लेख किया। मोदी सरकार के अंतर्गत गरीबों के अधिकार से सशक्तिकरण की ओर बढ़ने की कदम, ये प्रस्ताव मैं आपके सामने उपस्थापित किया।
कोई प्रश्न हो तो शैलेंद्र दीदी ने। सर, आपने कहा कि G20 में सफल नेतृत्व के लिए प्रधानमंत्री के नेतृत्व की तारीफ की गई है। जो प्रस्ताव आया सामाजिक और आर्थिक प्रस्ताव, क्या अलग से G20 पर भी प्रस्ताव आएगा और उस पर
बाद में बताएंगे?
आएगा, जयशंकर जी उसकी प्रस्ताव एक कर रहे हैं।
विकास चंद्रा, न्यूज नेशन।
लेकिन विपक्ष बार बार केंद्र सरकार को महंगाई के मुद्दे पे घेरता है और कहता है कि केंद्र सरकार उसके लिए और आम लोगों को राहत देने के लिए कुछ नहीं कर रही है। क्या इस प्रस्ताव में कुछ चिंता व्यक्त की गई?
देखिए, मैं सारे प्रस्ताव में और भी डिटेल है जो आपको थोड़ी देर में मिलेगा। देखिए, ये विपक्ष को मैं गणतंत्र में, प्रजातंत्र में उसकी आलोचना को पॉजिटिव स्पिरिट में लेता हूं। उनको तो भी कुछ काम होनी चाहिए, उनको करने दीजिए। विश्व की एक भी देश नहीं है, एक भी बड़ा अर्थशास्त्री नहीं थे, मैं वो दिन भुलाने उनका नाम मैं लेना नहीं चाहता हूं, जिनको बड़े बड़े अवार्ड भी मिला है दुनिया में। उन्होंने 2020 में मोदी जी की नीति को आलोचना किया था। और आज इस परिस्थिति में भी अभी मुद्रास्फीति की दर विश्व की अन्य देशों की तुलना में, डेवलप्ड देशों की तुलना में आदर्श की स्थिति में है। यही अपने आप में हमारा एक जिम्मेवार वाला अर्थनीतिक मॉडल का प्रमाण है। दुनिया की समस्या है, उसके अंदर भारत तुलनात्मक रूप से, जब हम एनर्जी इंपोर्ट करते हैं, जब ग्लोबल फूड चेन डिसरप्ट हो गया, उसके अंदर भी भारत की अर्थनीति मजबूत पैर पे खड़ा है। इसलिए हमने 5th पोजीशन पे यहां आया है।
देवेंद्र परासर, लीज मैथ्यू।
Biggest news.
So in your view, what was the role of the media at a time when national security can be jeopardized? So do you think there was a section of the narrative, people, media, whatever, wittingly or unwittingly for example, vis-a-vis Pakistan normalizing terrorism?
I think the real debate with Pakistan is not should you talk to Pakistan or not talk to Pakistan. It is what should you talk to Pakistan about. And there has been clarity in the last 5 years that unless we address the issue of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, talking about anything else doesn't make sense.
The biggest newsmakers.
How's the faster rollout of 5G made possible? Were you working on deadlines?
We have a leadership which believes in performance, which believes in delivery, which believes in making sure that whatever people's aspirations are, those aspirations are met with full vigor, full force, full commitment.
The biggest news.
The Chinese economy is not as attractive as it used to be. The American economy is hinged on an overextension. It is fragile, it is overstretched. But if India is to emerge as an alternative, I hate to sound cruel about it, America has to fall. Can America course correct?
Whatever happens to America, the worst affected country will be China.
So they'll fall together.
Serious problems, because the kind of problems that China will face if the export-driven economy receives a setback, I don't think the Chinese system will be able to manage.
The biggest newsmakers.
Your government says bring in the CA, change the legislation. You are saying that Hindus from Bangladesh should come, but they are also foreigners. This changes the full premise of the same students' agitation with which you have been associated yourself. Hindu doesn't have any address except India. As an Indian, no one can deny the rights of persecuted Hindu to come back to their own motherland. Can Hindu go to Arab? Can Hindu go to Pakistan? Can Hindu go to certain other country? Hindus has to come here.
Threat to the Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, the accused, has been identified as J.S. Pujari, one of the inmates of Hindalga jail in Belagavi, and a team of the Nagpur police.
Good afternoon. You're watching live and breaking on Republic TV. I'm Nupur Talwar Suri. We begin with a look at the top headlines we're tracking. It is a big win for the government. The UK Home Secretary orders fugitive Sanjay Bhandari's extradition. After a grand roadshow on day one, the Prime Minister attends day two of the BJP's National Executive meeting. The Aam Aadmi Party versus the LG showdown intensifies in the national capital. This time, it's over the teachers' trip to Finland.
My message to the Indian leadership and Prime Minister Modi is that let's sit down on the table and have serious and sincere talks.
The Pakistan Prime Minister makes a big admission, says learnt our lesson after 3 wars with India. From Waziristan to Gilgit-Baltistan, anger in the streets as the economic crisis hits Pakistan hard. And the UN lists Pakistan's Abdul Rahman Makki as a global terrorist under the Sanctions Committee. In what is being seen as a big win for the Union government, the United Kingdom Home Secretary has ordered the extradition of the fugitive arms dealer and the proclaimed offender Sanjay Bhandari. Now, the extradition order of Bhandari was signed on the 12th of January by the British Home Secretary Suella Braverman. Bhandari has 14 days of time from the date of the order, that I think was on the 12th of January, to put in an application seeking permission to appeal in this matter. Now, in November 2022, the Westminster Magistrates Court in London ruled that Bhandari can be extradited to India, an alleged aide of Robert Bhandari faces 2 extradition requests from Indian authorities. Shravan Sen is joining us live right now. He is joining us from the Delhi newsroom. Shravan, good morning. Shravan, I beg your pardon, actually afternoon. And there are 2 cases that are pending against Bhandari. Now, one of them relates to tax evasion. The other, of course, is a case that the Enforcement Directorate is investigating. It is a money laundering case. So give us more details in terms of how do you see this panning out now? Shravan, can you hear me? Okay, I think Shravan can't really yet hear me, but we will go back to him in just a bit. But as I was earlier saying, there are 2 cases that are being investigated by Indian authorities. Now, one is a case of money laundering that is primarily being looked into by the Enforcement Directorate. The second is a tax evasion case. Now, the Indian government's extradition request for Sanjay Bhandari had been certified by the UK's Home Secretary at that point in time. That was Priti Patel. This goes back to June 16, 2020, and he was arrested a month later on the 15th of July. Now, I think he has about 14 days time to be able to go against these, to appeal in a sense, either in court or against the government's order. So do remember that there are a long list of allegations against Sanjay Bhandari. Bhandari allegedly also held Benami properties in the name of Robert Vadra. We are also given to understand that he's being investigated in an arms case. I think we've got Shravan Sen back with us live from New Delhi. Shravan, earlier I was asking you in terms of the details of the 2 cases that are being investigated by Indian authorities against him. One, of course, is a money laundering case that's been investigated primarily by the Enforcement Directorate, and the other is a tax evasion case. So give us more details.
Well, that's right. It all starts with the investigation that was carried out by the Income Tax Department when raids were basically carried out in the national capital and other locations. These were all premises connected to Sanjay Bhandari, with the allegation essentially being that of tax evasion. Remember, when the raids were carried out, the Income Tax Department essentially indicated that they had come across incriminating documents, and this was in the form of sensitive defense deal-related papers. It turns out from the investigation that was later on carried out by the Income Tax Department and then followed by the Enforcement Directorate is that multiple companies were basically floated by Sanjay Bhandari, and they suspected that the proceeds of a crime was being diverted through these very companies. Not just that, he also faces an allegation of not disclosing the assets that he owns, not just in the national capital, but various other cities in the country, as well as overseas. Now, this is the crux of these allegations that have been leveled against Sanjay Bhandari. But remember, after the case that was registered by the Income Tax Department, this was then followed up by the Enforcement Directorate filing an ECIR. It's an FIR equivalent against Sanjay Bhandari. And during the investigation, they actually came across various tranches of emails. Now, emails of close aides of Sanjay Bhandari. It turns out that there is one particular property in central London which is key to this entire investigation, because the Enforcement Directorate basically suspects that the proceeds of crime was used to buy this property. And there is also a political link that has essentially emerged during the course of the investigation, and that's when Robert Vadra's name was first revealed. In fact, Robert Vadra was also called in for questioning by the Enforcement Directorate not just once, but on multiple occasions. Now, the allegation against Robert Vadra being that this central London property, which is in the name of Sanjay Bhandari, is a property that is de facto owned by none other than Robert Vadra himself. In fact, they go on to substantiate this claim by saying that there is an email exchange with Robert Vadra where he's talking about the upkeep of this particular property for them, and he was also paying the money for the renovation and the maintenance of this central London property. So these are, in a nutshell, these are the allegations that have been leveled against Sanjay Bhandari. Let's not forget the fact that he is on the run. He actually left from India sometime around 2017. And about years later, for the first time, Sanjay Bhandari was only tracked down by an Indian news channel. And when we had confronted him, there was an attempt to once again run away and not take a single question from us, because at the end of the day, he is a fugitive and he was running away from the Indian authorities. Now, importantly, soon after this particular report was filed by Republic TV, the enforcement directorate swung into action and thereafter filed the first charge sheet against Sanjay Bhandari in the national capital, paving the way for the first step towards the extradition when they had made the bid for extraditing Sanjay Bhandari. This was finally admitted by the UK government, and thereafter, obviously, the court procedure essentially begins, and he was finally arrested by the authorities in London and given a conditional bail. Important to point out here is that this is just the beginning, I would say. Undoubtedly the first victory for the central agencies in this particular case, but it's going to be a long drawn battle. It is going to be important for the central agencies through the Crown Prosecution Service in London to try and convince the courts that this is a fit case for extradition.
Oh yes, absolutely. So this is a step, but an important one nevertheless. Shravan, do stay with us. In fact, let's listen in to that confrontation that Shravan earlier had with Sanjay Bhandari.
Stop this. Sir, I am just having a word with him. If you just have a conversation with him, and I've done that. I will have a word with you again. I will stop. Of course, you will. I will put in a word with boss.
If debate is more important, let him do the debate. If he doesn't want to talk to me, I'll say, you come here. No, why are you sending him? You come here and talk to me. I'm going to invite him to come here and talk to me. Why is this? Let you be part with him. I'm going to say, why have you not come? You come. Have a holiday in London and talk to me. But then promise me that whatever I say...
Mr. Bhandari, I can tell you, my editor is a very fair editor.
भाषण नहीं दे रहा, रियल बात बता रहा हूँ मैं. आपने भी देखा होगा.
मेरे editor he's a fair editor. He will. There's no doubt about it.
वो यार अब fair है वो नहीं है वो मैं नहीं कह सकता. I don't want to comment because I don't know him personally. What I hear about him, I'm telling you.
I will stop. You stop this. Sir, I am just having a word with him. If you just have a conversation with him, and I've done that. I will have a word with you again. I will stop. Of course, you will. I will put in a word with boss.
If debate is more important, let him do the debate. If he doesn't want to talk to me, I'll say, you come here. No, why are you sending him? You come here and talk to me. I'm going to invite him to come here and talk to me. Why is this? Let you be part with him. I'm going to say, why have you not come? You come. Have a holiday in London and talk to me. But then promise me that whatever I say...
Mr. Bhandari, I can tell you, my editor is a very fair editor.
भाषण नहीं दे रहा, रियल बात बता रहा हूँ मैं. आपने भी देखा होगा.
मेरे editor he's a fair editor. He will. There's no doubt about it.
वो यार अब fair है वो नहीं है वो मैं नहीं कह सकता. I don't want to comment because I don't know him personally. What I hear about him, I'm telling you.
And just to give you a quick recap of what's happened in this story now, this is 2 months after a Westminster court in London actually had ordered the fugitive arms dealer Sanjay Bhandari's extradition to India. The British Home Secretary has now approved a reference sent to her in this matter. And we are told that Bhandari now has 14 days to appeal against extradition in a high court against this order. And we're going to go back to Shravan on this one. So Shravan, legally he does still have options to be able to combat this order that has come in from the UK Home Secretary.
Well, legally speaking, there are many more options available before Sanjay Bhandari, and we've seen this in the case of Nirav Modi as well as Vijay Mallya. Despite coming very close to extraditing Nirav Modi, remember there is a new twist in that entire case. He's already filed for a political asylum, and once he does that, it becomes the prerogative for the UK government to basically, take that decision. and they make the decision whether at all they want to inform the central agencies or not. Now, that's also one more option that perhaps even a person like Sanjay Bhandari could actually take.
Absolutely. Shavan, just hold your thoughts for a minute. In fact, let's bring in Amitabh Sinha, who's a lawyer. He's joining us on the phone line. Mr. Sinha, good afternoon. Thank you for speaking to us. Mr. Sinha, we just wanted to find out from you what are the legal options that are available to Sanjay Bhandari in this particular case. Now, his extradition, of course, has been approved by the UK Home Secretary, but we are told that he's now been given about 12 days to appeal to the High Court. Mr. Sinha, are you there with us?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Amitabh Sinha.
No, Kapil Sansla here. You got the wrong person.
All right. I'm sorry for this. We will come back to you in just a bit. Going back right now to Shavan San. Shavan, you were talking us through the legal remedies that are available, and we have, of course, the other two cases that have hogged media headlines, those of Vijay Mallya as well as Nirav Modi.
Well, as far as legal remedies are concerned, there are many more options available before Sanjay Bhandari. And let's not undermine the fact that the moment a fugitive like Nirav Modi or Vijay Mallya basically applies for political asylum, it puts a spanner to this entire work of extradition, because it is the prerogative of the UK government whether or not they would like to inform the central agencies on this entire issue. Because remember, as far as the political asylum of Nirav Modi and Vijay Mallya goes, the government has been completely tight-lipped about it. The central agencies are completely unaware of it, because there is no way that they would have got the information unless the UK government actually informs this entire matter diplomatically. So that puts the spanner on the entire work that is done by the central agencies through the Crown Prosecution Service in London. There are various levels of judiciary that as an option that can be worked out for fugitives like Sanjay Bhandari, especially in a country like United Kingdom. But having said that, the central agencies have always been upbeat about the fact that they've always been able to convince the court in other cases that this is a fit case for extradition. And the fact that when it comes to money laundering laws, remember, internationally speaking, almost all countries who are a signatory to the money laundering treaties, they've essentially followed that, and that is the reason why it's been far more easier for India right now to at least secure multiple extraditions over the last few years. So having said that, at least the first step, the first battle has been won by the central agencies in India.
Absolutely. Shavan, bringing us the details of this extradition request. Thank you very much for joining us. As Shavan was pointing out, this is a first but important step in this battle for extradition.
Christian Michelle.
And that is Christian Michelle. First visuals on your scene. Christian, would you give facts to India? Christian, would you tell the truth? Christian, would you tell the truth?
Mr. Bhandari. Mr. Bhandari. Mr. Bhandari.
I'll be very straight with you. If he's able to do that, I'll give you a scoop which will create ripples there.
We track down Sanjay Bhandari. We don't preach journalism. We practice it.
Two terrorists, local terrorists, have been neutralized by Budgam police along with Indian Army here in Budgam of Central Kashmir. It was a chance encounter. As per the Kashmir police zone, the terrorists were traveling in a vehicle. The vehicle was asked to stop. They fired upon the security forces, triggering a chance encounter. Two dead bodies along with arms and ammunition have been recovered. There are other reports that suggest that these are the same terrorists who managed their escape from Red Book operation on Sunday, and since then the police had ordered an alert and many people were questioned, and also the people were being frisked ahead of Republic Day. The Kashmir is on alert. This is the first encounter of 2023 where 2 terrorists, as per the reports of the NET, have been neutralized here in Badgam of central Kashmir. With VJ Mubashir Hussain, I'm Zinat Zishan Fazil for Republic in Badgam.
Well, it appears that there is no end to civic apathy in Bengaluru. A road has caved in just 2 days after asphalting was done. The Mahalakshmi layout main road was asphalted after the BWSSB pipeline work was concluded. Now, quality of the road work has been so poor that it has already caved in. So questions being raised about civic apathy in Bengaluru continuously. Let's go across to Prajwal, who has more details. Now, Prajwal, tell us about what happened, and has anybody been held accountable yet? Well, just to tell our viewers, pictures on your screen are of this asphalting that was done, and 2 days later this road has already caved in. And that's not all. We are also bringing you pictures of what happened in terms of the metro collapse. Unfortunately, a mother and a young child lost their lives in that. And then, of course, there is this electricity pole that appears to be tilting towards the road where traffic is still allowed to go on. So questions being raised about the kind of civic apathy that we are seeing in Bengaluru. Even in the metro collapse case, we haven't really seen action that could be taken to act as a deterrent against civic apathy. Let's go across to Prajwal, who has more details on this road work that has been done. Prajwal, take us through what's happened, and has anybody been held accountable so far?
Now, Nupur, mainly 2 civic authorities will have to take the blame here. That is the BWSSB, which is BWSSB, and the BBMP as well, because the BBMP is responsible for managing the roads and overlooking the quality of construction, and the BWSSB for taking the underground, for laying underground pipelines as well. Now we get to understand that this particular pipeline was laid down a few weeks ago, and this road on Mahalakshmi layout, which is one of the prominent roads which connects us to the central business district of Bengaluru, from the outer ring road, has caved in completely now. This was mainly due to the leakage which had been caused from the BWSSB work which had taken place there. So this particular underground line which supplies which supplies water as well is what we get to learn has started leaking from several weeks. Therefore, to fix that, the BWSSB had dug up the road and patched they had gone on to patch this particular road. But after they went on to patch this particular road, leaking was again reported, and therefore now it is being learnt that this a part of this road has entirely caved in, and motorists were also under a lot of problem here, mainly because the traffic came to a complete standstill, and now the entire road is being dug up. This entire process is taking a lot of time, because every now and then we see that the BBMP lays the road, but the BWSSB digs it up, and these underground pipelines pass through. And because of the leaking, this has caused, this particular road has caved in. Similar incident was also reported 4 days ago from the Shule Circle near Brigade Road, where another road had caved in, and the BWSSB was also partly responsible for this. So all said and done, now seems like the Bengaluru's civic infrastructure is falling apart, but seems like there is no sort of action that is being seen on the ground.
All right, Prajwal, bringing us the latest case of civic apathy from Bengaluru. Thank you for the moment for joining us. So as Prajwal is pointing out, of course, there are questions being raised in terms of the quality of work that has been done in this particular area. This is a road that was just asphalted about 2 days ago. It's already caved in large portions. So questions being raised about the contractors, number one, who were giving this job, as well as authorities who are supposed to be stock taking before allowing commuters to use these roads. inside details of day 2 of the BJP meeting that is taking place in the national capital. The BJP's socio-economic resolution in the National Executive expresses gratitude to the Prime Minister for the speedy construction of the Ram Temple in Ayodhya. Earlier, the opposition would ask when would the temple be ready. Now they have been given dates as well. That's what the resolution reads. Now, it thanks the Prime Minister on bringing the economy from the fragile 5 to the 5th largest. So this is a resolution that has been passed in the 2-day National Executive meeting of the BJP that is currently ongoing in New Delhi. This is the socio-economic resolution that has been passed. Piyush Mishra is reporting live from New Delhi. He joins us right now. Piyush, take us through the details of this resolution that has been passed.
Is that a political resolution has already been passed, and now social economic resolution has also been passed by BJP's national executive. The biggest breaking news which we are right now picking is that BJP's national executive has hailed Prime Minister and in fact has also thanked the Prime Minister for the construction of Ram Temple. What we're also learning is that in that executive it has also been said that earlier opposition always used to ask about the dates of construction of Ram Temple, and now we have announced that too. Remember that Union Home Minister Amit Shah a couple of days back had announced as to how on 1st January 2024 we are going to...
Piyush, hold your thoughts for a minute. I'm going to come back to you, but also joining us right now is our political editor Aishwarya Kapoor on the phone line. Aishwarya, how do you see this socio-economic resolution that has been passed by the BJP's national executive?
Well, it's a normal process as far as the BJP is concerned, but in the present circumstance, right prior to the 2024 general elections and then the 9th state assembly polls in between today and then the 24th general elections, the mention of the speedy construction of Ram Temple in the socio-economic resolution within the BJP national executive is a clear sign that BJP leaders understand that how important and what is going to be the impact of a speedy construction of Ram Temple. Because irrespective of whoever says what, it is going to become a big talking point come 24 general elections. We've already heard the Home Minister of the country in Tripura saying that 1st January 2024 that a massive Ram Temple will be ready for the people of this country to visit and pay their respects to. So very clearly the same has been mentioned in the socio-economic resolution within the BJP's national executive, but indicating that how important the construction of Ram Temple is going to be as far as the BJP as a party is concerned.
Right. So Aishwarya, you think that this is going to become a big talking point, at least in the elections for 24. But how do you see this in the shadow of the 9 states that go to polls this year?
Is in a tight fight. If you see Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Tripura, Karnataka, Mizoram, Meghalaya, so all of these states, at least 5 of these states, 3 of them in central India, that is Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, and then Karnataka in the southern. These 4 states, there is a tough fight. A fight to the nail. So it's going to be a nail-biting fight as far as the BJP and Congress is concerned. And BJP understands that they cannot leave any stone unturned. Politically speaking, any issue cannot be left unturned. And for them to be victorious in every state, not only these 4 but all 9, is going to be very important, because whichever state, irrespective or big or small, if BJP loses, the opposition is going to turn it around as a clear indication of what is going to happen in 24. We've already seen how the Congress party is trying to make of what has happened in Himachal Pradesh. The BJP has understood. And BJP, practically speaking, understands that whether it is Karnataka,